going, audio going. One. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
It's a Mia, a Mario.
Hello and welcome back to Core. This is Core for August 24th, 2023. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger, and we are here to talk about video games. All right? The news around them, the games themselves, shit we're playing. I even played more than Baldur's Gate 3 this week, just so we'd have a little variety.
Good. Glad someone's fallen on that sword.
Dare
I know.
dare
I know. While you're running around in Act 3, I'm like, I better play something else so we can talk about it.
My psychology's more, I better hurry up with this playthrough. I still got 2 to go.
Oh, is that your thinking? Why 2?
Well, I definitely want to do an evil playthrough. I want to pick the most, not disturbing, the most evil. Like, just everything capital E evil, right? Like, it's not about wanton destruction. It's about, like, Megatron or whatever, obtaining the ultimate power, being the most powerful tyrant possible. I think there's I don't know how it ends, but I think there's a playthrough, where that's what I want to do. And then I kind of want to do the Dark Urge, which is sort of similar, but I think you're more of a psychopath that kills people. The one thing I know about Dark Urge, for example, is when Gale's reaching his hand out of the portal and you go to save him, one of the options is just to rip his hand off.
Oh, right. That's a Dark Urge, isn't it?
That is a Dark Urge. That's what I would call a Dark Urge, for sure.
So the Dark Urge doesn't appear as a companion. It's like a very different game mode. So I have Evil and Dark Urge. Right now I'm playing, the neutral good sort of style where I'm not like lawful and don't want to send people to jail, but I'm also not chaotic, or maybe it's more chaotic good, like just good for good's sake. As a bard, I like good times, but I won't report you to the police, but I'll do my own sort of justice. So anyways, I'm like, man, how many I've got a queue of playthroughs, and the game's not short by any stretch.
Well, it's interesting though too, right? Because if you play it the second and third time or more, you're going to want to do things that are not drastically different, but different enough to make those playthroughs, totally worth the extra 300 hours or whatever you're going to put into them.
Yeah, so there's even NPCs that I straight up just killed.
Yeah.
That on an evil playthrough I probably won't, because maybe I'll side with the goblins this time.
Oh, shit. Yeah, right. That plays out completely different if you side with that.
There are joinable NPCs for dependent. If you get one, you don't get the other kind of thing. So there's reasons to go and explore again.
You know what I forgot about? Sorry. Side note. I know we're not talking about the game yet, but when I said last week, I said I was going to go clear out every damn goblin in that place. I went to do that, and inside of the hideout or in the cavernous, stronghold, I did just that. Killed every goblin in there. Slowly but surely, all of them, plus the boss lady, did everything I had to do. Lost Shadowheart briefly. She's back, though. She's okay. Thank you, Withers, for your fine works, your 200 gold works.
What happened? Did she get yeeted into a hole?
No, we were fighting on, do you know where the drow lady is? You're supposed to fight inside the goblin place. Or not fight her, I guess, if you don't want to, but excuse me, I can't think of her name. But anyway, she's
Minthara, I think.
She's hanging out over there, and when she throws down, she spreads out a bit, and she ended up running across this bridge, and under that bridge is a endless chasm. And anyway, she did some kind of spell, and it knocked everybody on their butt except for Shadowheart, who was knocked into the abyss and killed. And I thought, should I save scum this or should I play this out? And I thought, you know what? I have a lot of gold. I'm just going to play this out. Let's see what it does and see if there's story around it. Does anyone miss her? Did anyone else see her die? I just wanted to kind of see what the game did. And the game was very good about it. Everybody had dialogue about it. I went back to town. And everyone was like, oh, I can't believe Shadowheart fell to the depths of the thing. And then I went and talked to Withers, and he's like, in his dumb sing-songy way, gave me a res, and I brought her back. But what's funny about bringing her back is she doesn't say anything about it. So everybody else is talking about it. They're all kind of pseudo mourning. I bring her back, and she's just like, so anyway, when do we go? We're on our way to Baldur's Gate still, right? We're not stopping every 5 feet to have a long rest. Like, she just kept talking.
Stop asking me questions about my personal life.
Yeah, and because I finally did that, I got the party. And because I got the party, I finally got to do phase 1 of romancing her, and all we did was have a little date up on a cliff, made out a little bit. Yeah.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. It'll all come in time, but she's not, I guess I'm glad I let her die and then bring her back that way. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to see what the game would do.
Why don't you have a romance show on the network, Scott? Why hasn't that ever happened?
Yeah, why isn't there a whole...
Scott's like, look, really lemons into lemonade. Her dying really benefited our relationship in the long term.
Yeah, things went places. But, it's that or save scum it. And the problem wasn't so much save scumming it. It was that I had saved a long time before I got to the drow lady. I'm not going to refight those goblins, so let's just do this.
So pits are not hard stops in terms of player death, but
yeah.
In Act 2, there are some no-res
situations.
There's a no-res death in some situations.
Didn't Shadowheart die for you, John? Something happened there.
She left.
She
left.
Quit. That's what it was.
Bo ran into a similar issue. I watched on his playthrough.
She left.
I had a few. I had a few, but one was I didn't. So I was just disabling traps, and I was taking the light with me, and spoilers, I suppose, here for Act 2. But if someone gets turned undead, you can't res them. They're still a being in the universe. They're just undead. So don't get turned undead, because then you can't res them. You pretty much permanently lose them in that case.
But if they're undead, will they minion around with you and do your bidding and stuff?
No, they're not. Mad undead.
Oh,
they're not smart undead. They're just zombie style undead.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
I'll be
Corrupted
careful
undead.
Because I'm not. Shadowheart is not. I will not let her die again in this game. It's not going to happen. I died with some explosive mushroom bullshit at one point, and
oh yeah,
yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. So
careful. Are you saving that dwarf?
Yeah. No, it was me going down in. It was deep into the grove, and I just found a door I didn't see the first 5 times in there. I was like, wait, where does that go?
Right, yeah.
So I got in there, and I can't even remember what the circumstances were. The only way I could get there was to go down and then kind of hopscotch on these,
back through the, prison area. Yeah. There's some exploding mushrooms over there.
Yeah, that's what killed me. I didn't know it was there. It just freaking killed me. But, yeah, that game's badass. All right, we'll talk more about it a little bit later. But first... I wanted to it's not even video game related, but I know everyone's a fan here, so I thought I would at least say, has everybody seen, and we're not getting into spoiler territory. Honestly, I don't even know how much of it's spoilery, because I saw the first 2 episodes and I didn't feel like there was much of I don't know. It didn't feel
there's not much to reveal.
Not much at all, but we've all seen Ashoka season 1, episode 1 and 2. Right?
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And did we all, John, did you like it? Let's start with John. John, did you enjoy your time there?
I did. As a stalwart Rebels fan, getting more Rebels seems like a great deal to me. So I was more than happy to see more Star Wars Rebels.
Did you know how Rebels heavy it would be prior to seeing it, or were you unsure?
I had an idea because they had shown some of the characters. I did think being called Ahsoka would maybe have a little more Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So did I. I'm surprised at how little she's been in it so far.
Yeah.
For being the title character. But you know what? I got live action, at least as much as you can say that. Chopper, who is the best droid in. Andor's droid gives him a bit of a run, but Chopper is my favorite. My wife sees him and says, "Oh, so it's you as a droid?" And I said, "Yep, that's me." That's exactly. He's a kindred spirit. He will do what he needs to do, but he will complain the entire time he has to do it. And I love Chopper so much.
The Hera Chopper bickering in episode 2, actually had me rolling. I was actually laughing.
Nice.
When there's that moment where she's like, "No, I didn't go through your things," but his things are just like bolts and just trash. Like, why would anyone go through his things? Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
But that's also typical Chopper. It's just like, anyways, it made me laugh. I laughed way longer than I probably should have. I just thought that was really funny.
Well, I enjoyed the show so far. I will say though, don't go in expecting Andor. I think Andor's in a special rarefied space on the drama side of things. This is a lot closer to, hey, we all love Star Wars. So here's some Star Wars shit going on. A little more Mandalorian.
Yeah, this is popcorn. Yeah, for sure. This
which-
is back to popcorn Star Wars.
Yeah, and if you're,
I don't know.
I'm not saying that's a
I
bad thing. It's not a pejorative. I think it's a good thing. I just think that some people, I know that some people are going to come to this after Andor thinking they finally found their deep mythological, hardcore acting, hardcore story business. And they're going to go to this and they're going to get, I mean, we're only 2 episodes in, but you're going to get something more along the lines of Mando, more along the lines of like mainstream Star Wars. And I don't mean it as a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Well, I just think in terms of characterization, like this is the full Filoni treatment. Like it feels like Rebels season 5, it feels like Clone Wars. Yep. And while those can kind of be sometimes kid shows and popcorny, he can write some really good Star Wars, particularly on the Jedi business. You know, even some of the best Jedi stuff in the beginning, I liked the moment where Baylan Skoll was being asked by Morgan some question, and she's like this, and he's like, no, truth. Like he was very Jedi about how his dialogue was written and how the character was behaving. Mm-hmm. It just felt like, you know, like you know, it's like we still don't know a lot about them, but they were definitely behaving in a way where it's like these are wizards. You know, like
I really like how they're being portrayed, especially him. I mean, I already really liked the actor, and it's so sad, man. It felt like a gut punch when the first episode ended and said for our friend Ray, and I was just like, oh no, not again, no.
I know, right?
I was reminded, but he's doing an amazing job, because one thing that has always kind of bugged me in Star Wars is you have these, like, they're the most noble of noble, like paladins, and then they fall to the dark side and immediately turn into mustache twirling villains. They go from like these noble creatures to just immediately like, yeah, I've decided to be evil.
Yeah, there's
and it always kind of bugged me that there wasn't a lot of nuance there, because I feel like there should be. And what I like so far with the portrayal is that it actually feels like somebody who had these high-minded, lofty goals and ambitions and has like turned from them to a degree. Like, especially there's that line where like he talks about having to kill somebody and he just goes, it's going to be a shame. Mm-hmm. Like, and it feels very Jedi-ish. Like, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to do an evil thing. And it's just a shame that I got to do it. Like, because I still have like some glimmer that's like recognizes life and life being important. And I love that. So I don't know if it's going to stay good, but so far I really like that portrayal of a fallen Jedi.
Yeah.
They also earned, I think the reason why there isn't a lot of Ahsoka is because they're trying to bring Sabine into a proper Padawan sort of deal.
Sure,
and they
feels
really
that way.
gave it the time. They really seem to be giving it the time. It's not just like over in 2 seconds. It felt like kind of earned the whole. You know, they showed Sabine messing up like twice in ways that, if you know the characters, definitely they're from a show called Rebels. They don't do what they're told to do. It's not exactly good stuff for a Jedi to be a Padawan that doesn't listen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost got a bad feeling about it. I'm like, Sabine's gonna mess up again, and it's gonna be in one of those moments where it's in the middle of a saber fight, and Ahsoka's gonna die. You know, like it's one of those. Oh. That's how these Jedi things go, right? And then they make a big mistake that they spend the rest of their character arc compensating for, right? Like there's always this little, maybe, I don't know if they're going to address it in this show, but Ahsoka, in a way, abandoned Anakin. And they even sort of allude to Ahsoka being quick to abandon situations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I wonder...
Well, and there's that line, even the right decisions can have the wrong consequences. That's a very... Like, she absolutely made the right choice to leave the Jedi Order. I push
back on that this a little bit. So far, the first 2 episodes I find really well written, and
they're well written.
The whole there's just like, I just wouldn't say like we have Andor and we have this. Like the tone is different for sure, but this to me is as good as Andor. Far.
This is what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. The tone is different. So if you go in expecting Andor tone, you will be not getting Andor tone.
Yeah, this is the Jedi business series, and Andor's like the Jedi's a legend. What are Jedi? Who cares about them? We have our own lives to live series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Which I think both are good. Yeah, I like them both.
Yeah, so we get more on Thursdays now, and we thought it'd be fun to talk about it so
I
far.
mean, what did you think, Scott?
I liked it a lot. It was great. As much as I'm in the group of people who really like when they stray from the usual Jedi business, because I feel like that's all it's ever been too much of, and I'm always like, well, let's see the underbelly, let's see the cities, let's see the rascals and the scoundrels and this sort of thing, which we then got a bunch of, and it was kind of, to be honest, kind of nice to get back to a little, spiritual Jedi business. When she's walking around that temple, working the artifacts and everything. That stuff's badass.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Little Indiana Jones in my Star Wars, even little Tomb Raiding. But yeah, so far so good. I like it a lot. Real strong so far.
The casting, everyone feels like their cartoon counterparts, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I like Rebels a lot. Rebels.
Sometimes they are, because what's his name was playing the character he played in Rebels.
Who? Which actor?
What's his name? Mr. Krabs. What's the actor's name?
Frick. Andy Dufresne's guard.
Yeah.
There'll only be one. The Kurgan.
What? David Tennant?
No.
No, but yes, also, and great job, David Tennant. Man, made to be a droid in Star Wars. It's just the best. I loved it.
I love that Jedi droid too. He's great. And his
Clancy Brown. That's it.
Clancy
Brown.
Yeah.
Thank you, chat.
Gosh dang it.
Clancy Brown playing the character he played in Rebels. It's always fun to see.
Yeah. You got to
I think that's the true of Thrawn too, right? The voice actor's also playing the character in it.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the same actors that I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When we get to it.
When it comes around, but
it hasn't been in the show yet, so we're not spoiling anything, but I just happen to know that that's the case for him.
Well, the trailers show him and stuff. I don't think it's a big mystery.
But I don't think we're going to... Well, no, Kanan's dead, but we're not going to see Freddie Prinze Jr., I don't think.
What if we do, though?
Why not?
In a Jedi Ghost... Maybe.
I want to see Freddie Prinze in it. He did great. I want to see him.
What if he...
this is just... And the thing I keep seeing about this show is people going, man, I guess I really should have watched Rebel. Yes!
Yeah.
I get it. I am with everybody that says, well, it didn't look appealing to me. That was 100% me. I saw Ezra with his stupid slingshot and his stupid little kid angst, and I was like, I don't want to watch this dumbass show. I saw Chopper rolling around waving droid arms, and I was like, this is dumb. And then I gave it a chance because I was told that it was good by people I trusted, and it had a slow start, like a lot of TV shows. And then found out what it wanted to be and was some of the best Star Wars that I've ever seen.
Agreed.
So it was really, really good. And all those characters are great. And you will get more out of the show if you know who those characters are. So go watch Rebels.
Yeah, watch Rebels. Nothing's stopping you. I'm in the mood to watch it again. I've only seen it once.
So my mom never seen the cartoons, and I watched it with her. And it was really funny because she got really hung up on... we opened up a YouTube video that recapped everything. It's kind of too much all at once, and she got hung up not being able to tell the difference between who Sabine, the Mandalorian, that doesn't even clarify things. Sabine and Satine. So there's Satine Wren.
Yeah.
There's Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And then there's Satine. I can't remember. Kryze, Obi-Wan's paramour who dies, Bo-Katan's sister.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Wait, who are all?" And I think I spent an hour trying to go.
Yeah, we got a little Elden Ringy with the names.
This is Satine, and then you missay Sabine, and then confuse everything. And she's like, "Where does Kylo Ren come into all this?" I'm like, "No,
not here, not a factor." Don't worry about it.
But that made me think. I'm like, what if Satine? No, Sabine Wren, the one we're seeing become a Jedi. This is how it gets. What if the end result is she falls to the dark side and drops the W off her name and makes the Knights of Ren, and that's the legacy is Satine Wren to Kylo Ren.
Would certainly make that part of the sequel trilogy more interesting.
Which is what Dave Filoni does.
Dave
Filoni takes the movies and all the criticism and actually makes it story that makes sense, and then you're like, I love this so much.
I can see him doing that. But this is just a reminder. This is a one-off limited series. They're not doing multiple seasons.
So this is prediction time. If you don't even want to hear a prediction, stop listening. But pretty much Ahsoka dies in this.
You think so?
Because she's got to trade in exchange for Ezra's life.
This is your prediction, not
this is my prediction. Yeah, but the whole reason Ahsoka's living in the first place is because Ezra pulled through the Jedi weird world, pulled Ahsoka out and gave her a second lease on life. But by all rights, and Darth Vader should have killed her in that temple.
That's true.
For sure, 100%. And so she's like not living on borrowed time. And then he, both Kanan and him died saving the found family. And I think things won't be set right until she's. I think they'll. What I hate about saber fights are when saber fights are like, we had a saber fight, everyone's good. Saber fight always has to have an outcome, even if it's just injury, right? So Sabine got stabbed. That bought a lot of respect for me from the show. It's like, here's a saber fight. In Play It Safe, Star Wars, they could have a saber fight and go away. Nope. Sabine gets stabbed pretty hardcore. I'm like, okay, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. Like, there's going to be an injury. So I have a feeling there's going to be some. If it's a limited series too, one season,
yeah,
someone you like is going to die. 100%.
What if it's Ahsoka going through, trying to break into some place? She snags her big fleshy alien tentacle thing on some barbed wire and bleeds out. What if that's how they kill her?
I don't know. Such a Scott thing to worry about. He's like, she got head tentacles.
All
get caught on something.
Think about every Jedi you like. They're all dead except for Rey.
No, I think you're right.
They all die.
I think you're probably right.
They're all shown dying.
Yeah.
They get killed,
But the big fleshy head ones, I don't know why we don't see him snag on more shit. Just snagging on something.
Scott, you've got arms and limbs. You don't get snagged on stuff all the time.
Yeah, but in this world, this very un-OSHA approved Star Wars world where there's no guardrails on anything, everything's dangerous as shit. It just seems like if you got a big, heavy, tentacly, fleshy thing full of nerves, that thing's got to get hung up more often than because everyone else is just normal. Ray Stevenson walking around with a normal guy head. He doesn't have big tentacles to worry about.
Scott feels human beings are the baseline for everything in the galaxy. He's like, you've got additional things to worry about.
Yeah, like Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I love as Hera. She's got she's a full on what do you call him? Twi'lek.
Twi'lek.
Twi'lek. Yeah. How come that's never gotten tangled up at the hair salon or whatever? I want to see those moments. That's what I want.
Because they don't happen. Because that's their body and they understand it, Scott, just like your body. I'm sure it happens to someone, right? There's human beings that get their arms stuck in stuff.
Yeah. You're probably like sumo
it
wrestlers.
Happens, but it doesn't happen because they're human with additions thrown on them.
I'm just saying it would be a really bad end to this show if that's how they killed her. If she snagged
that
on
we
something.
Agree on.
Yeah.
Yes, if that was how they ended it, it would be bad.
She fell into some cutlery in somebody's space kitchen, and that was the end of it because of her big weird head. Well, anyway, it's good. Check it out. First 2 episodes are up, and we liked it. Now let's talk about video games. Ooh, our big topic today. Scary music I put there. PlayStation Portal is a thing, and don't think that I misspelled or mispronounced portable. No, it's called PlayStation Portal. Previously Project Q, now has a name. It is the PlayStation Portal, and it's that weird handheld that looks like basically a tablet wedged in between a snapped in half PS5 DualShock controller or DualSense controller. And it is now available, or not available. It's now available, I think, in some places for pre-order, but it will be out this fall. And we don't even have an exact date, but we know it's this fall. Here's a picture chat room so you guys can see this. Wrong screen. There we go. $199 for this thing. All right, so seems pricey. We'll get to, opinions in a second. An important note about what it actually does. It does not let you install anything to it. It is purely a remote play device for your PlayStation 5. And so that there's no confusion, any game that runs on your PS5 off the hard drive of your PlayStation 5 will play here, whether you are at home on your Wi-Fi connection or in Korea at a conference in the hotel room. You can wake your PS5 from wherever you are across the world and get a relatively low latency experience. On your immediate Wi-Fi connection, apparently it is very good at this, but people have tested it in other states, countries, locations, and are claiming pretty good latency performance. It will play PlayStation 4 games, but only those that are on your PS5, so no connection to any PS4. This does not play anything that isn't on the machine. In other words, if you're a PlayStation Plus premium member, you're supposed to get access to all the retro games, like some PS1, PSP games, all that stuff. You'll have access to those things via your PS5, but you cannot play them on this device, which seems crazy to me that their games that they have for streaming aren't streaming here. It's a really weird thing. This could change, by the way. This is all just at launch stuff. So 6 months down the road, they could say, oh, we made it so now all those, PS1 games will stream here as well. And to be honest, I'm sure that's coming, but it's not going to be ready at launch. A couple other factors. Let's see. Battery life's expected to be that of a PlayStation 5 controller, like this one right here, this red one. I want to say I probably get, 4 hours out of this. So I think you can expect roughly that on this device. It is an 8-inch screen, 1080p capable. People are saying that the latency is really good on this device. And does not support Bluetooth. That's an important distinction. If you have Bluetooth headphones of any kind, you will not be able to use them with this. Even though you can use those with your PlayStation 5, you cannot use those Bluetooth devices, headphones, whatever, with the Portal. However, it does use this new PlayStation Link technology, which is a lossless audio format and wireless connection format that this will use and will work with your PlayStation 5. And with their new headphones and their new earbuds, which we'll talk about in a second, but you can't use anything you already have. That's kind of weird. It does have a plug on it, though, like a 3.5 millimeter, headphone plug. So if you want to just go the old-fashioned way, you can do it. Mentioning those other accessories, for another $199, you can buy their new earbuds, which, again, have this link technology for lossless audio. They also have a way to, I forget how this works, but there's a way to you could take a call on them from your phone somehow, because those will support Bluetooth and the link technology, but the link technology is all that's communicating with your handheld. So you could take a call and not interrupt game time, but it's weird that this device does not support Bluetooth. Anyway, it's Sony trying to push a proprietary thing, and they've been known for that for years. All right, what else? And then the new set of headphones is a little cheaper, $139. But again, that same lossless link technology in there.
The headphones are $139.
Yeah, $139 for the over-the-ear stuff,
Ooh.
And then the earbuds are $200. So there you have it.
Ooh,
so
as much as the device.
If you want $200, also $199. So if you wanted to have the earbuds and this combo, you will pay $400. And you're gonna. And don't think you're going to take it home and use it with GeForce Now or Game Pass or 1,000 other streaming services. This is for PlayStation Remote Play only. So who is this for? In my opinion, it's for PlayStation people, and that's it. Or people just want to have every little device. But I don't think this is a thing that will draw anyone into that ecosystem. If you're already there, I think it might make some sense for some people. But for me personally, this price seems crazy. If this was $99 for a thing that only does remote play, which my phone, by the way, already does, which my Steam Deck already does PlayStation Remote Play. Like, PlayStation Remote Play is available already as a thing. This might be better latency or whatever as they're claiming, but I couldn't justify $200 for this thing. That's my hot take. I know a lot of people are excited about this thing. I want to know what you guys think. So, Bo, how does it land on you? You're like, $200. All right, man. I'm going to extend my PlayStation everywhere I go. I gets to play it. What do you say?
I think, I'm super not interested in this. Like, so pretty hard. Like,
yeah,
there's already a lot of handheld business options to look at before even getting to this. And I don't own a PlayStation, right? So,
right.
As a not PlayStation owner, I'm out.
Well, yeah, because you'd have to spend the $559 or whatever it is now. Plus,
I'd want to get a PSVR first, and then B, just skip the whole deal. And I just say, for the amount of money you're talking, put it towards your Oculus 3 headset. Don't bother with this thing. But if you want a handheld, there's a Steam Deck. There's a Steam Deck. There's a whoever, Asus or whatever. There's a Republic of Gamers thing maybe you can try. There's like 100 different options before this even seems remotely interesting.
Yeah, you're literally your phone and those things that we got from backbone do this thing
Yeah.
that we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can stream. Steam does it even to your phone, even without the backbone. Steam Link is a thing. You can stream
Yeah.
games to your phone. Like so, I. The one thing I could think of was for kids somehow. Like I could see a Switch. The thing is, it costs as much as a Switch, but I can see a Switch. I wondered how many Switches get bricked by kids playing with the handheld. And so if you had a PS5 and then gave the kid the handheld, this thing, at least they're not going to brick the whole system if they brick the handheld. But I don't know. I still, it's a lot of hoops still to get through to get there.
It's $200 brick. It's kind of expensive.
Yeah.
John, I assume that you've got a PS5 in the house right now, like I do. Does this tempt you at all?
No.
No.
Like we talked about this when it leaked, and my opinion on it has not changed. There are probably people out there that this scratches an itch for. You know, if you have a primary TV, that's what your PS5 is hooked up to. You have competition over who is on it. You want to play your PlayStation games and only your PlayStation games, but people want to watch their shows. This probably, you can judge whether $200 is worth solving that issue. That's, if this is for you, and if what I just described isn't you, then this isn't probably for you. There's probably a cheaper, better alternative to do exactly this. And I would say even if for people that are in that boat, you may want to consider a different option that offers something more robust. So I'm not going to say this isn't for anybody, but it's not for me. And I'm a little bit, I think this is a device for a specific audience, and they know who they are, and it isn't me.
Yeah, I feel like it's like I don't know what a good example is, but like maybe a Toyota Echo or something like that. Like a cheap car that does car. Like if you have a particular problem that this thing fills a solution of, then it works. And of course, you meet some people who are just fans of the brand. They like Toyota, so maybe they have all the Toyota cars or something like that. But mostly, you have it fills a specific need. I can just see someone who's like even if I was a PS enthusiast, I'd be like, I got the console, I got the games, I got the premium pass plus. I got my VR headset. What do I need this for? Not like this just seems like it's a solution to maybe a problem.
Yeah, that's my take too.
10% of people have, and maybe if they know in their market research that people would buy this, but they have to know it's like people want the Vita, people want a Switch analog maybe, and they can't deliver on it, so they're just going to squeeze enough sales out of this copium device and call it good.
It would be great if it was possible to take this thing and make it a more proper, the way Steam Decks work, for example. They're not having to mimic the exact configuration of your PC. It's the opposite of that. In fact, it's a whole different architecture. So make something that just plays PlayStation 5 games and plays them well off of some SSD built into the thing. Then you have me interested. Then I'm like, all right, a PlayStation Portable. That's
I think what we're talking around is expectations, both on us as a consumer and them as a producer. Like, Scott, you're talking about, and you seem baffled because this product isn't what it clearly isn't. Like you're saying, well, what if it was this? What if it was this? And it's all these things that would be better for us and would turn it into a product that would be more universally sought after by the public. It is definitely not that. And I think on the other side, does Sony know that? Because I don't know that Sony is marketing this as a competitor for those devices. If Sony knows that this is like, hey, we're putting out a product that's for, a fraction of our user base, and we know that we're only having a small amount made, and this is a price that's going to be a profit to us if we sell to those people, like that's fine. Like where it gets into a problem is if their expectations are like what you're saying, Scott, is like, oh man, we're going to compete with the Steam Deck. No, you're absolutely not. Like that's probably not realistic for what this device is. But I think expectations on both sides, like you have to just judge the product for what it is. And it's a product that serves a very specific purpose. And as long as Sony knows that, and as long as people who are buying it know that, I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. If you guys get one out there and you want to, tell us what you think on the show, write us, call in, whatever. I'd like to hear people's takes. We're not going to hear for a while because it's this fall. We don't know when. My guess is November, but they haven't said. And I would be curious how even the most PlayStation faithful like it. The one thing I will say is, like, from an aesthetic standpoint, it is cool that these all look like they're part of the same family. They've got that white and black aesthetic. They've got the curves like the PS5 does. I think that's cool. I don't think it's just $200 cool, or $400 if I'm getting both, or $1,200 if I have to get a PlayStation and these things. Like, I just to me, it's a weird path to finding a need, and that path is expensive whichever road you take. And maybe I just don't know if it's worth it. You've already got a phone. We all have phones, right? You've all got phones.
Yep.
As someone once famously said. So anyway, we'd love to hear your feedback. What do you think about the PlayStation Portal? It's going to take a while for me to get used to saying it that way because I feel like I'm saying portable wrong.
Well, here's the reality, Scott.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to say it that much.
That's true, right?
So nobody's going to be talking about this except the people it serves. That's the thing. It's like talking about, I don't know, a special cable. Maybe it solves a problem for
probably
certain people who
that we've forgotten. We've already forgotten what the last thing was that was all the topic of conversation on the show.
Well, I already struggled.
I'm trying to think of it, and I'm like,
I already struggled with when Logitech had that thing, and that will do like 5 or 6 streaming services, and even then I was like, yeah, but
the Logitech one, right?
How's
that one doing? Right
I don't
now?
think it's doing very well. I think it's kind of tanking. If I had to guess, I could be wrong. I'm supposed to be a Logitech official like reviewer type person. They're supposed to send me some things. They never send me that one. I always ask for that one, and they never do. It's like
the Logitech gaming handheld is $399.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That thing's really expensive, stupid expensive. But to its credit, it does more than this thing, including what this thing does. This does PlayStation remote play as well. So I don't know. Just feels like a product for no one. If you disagree, let us know. I would love to hear more.
It's a product for someone.
Well,
let me head off the email and say that's a product for someone.
It's a product for someone, but not for a whole lot of someones. It's not enough someones. I think it's probably a very niche part of their world. They may think different. They, like you said, they have the numbers. They must have the market research that we don't have. But
we might also not be the right audience for it. I'm looking at this on Amazon, the Logitech G Cloud gaming handheld. 173 ratings, average rating 4.3.
Yeah, no, people like it.
And a lot of people are like, not everything's like not for everyone, but if you know what you're getting, I love it. I'm in love. I mean, it says verified purchase. I assume that means we know for sure they're not paid reviewers.
Mm-hmm.
But
this is how you know they have good internet.
I think it's a niche product. I think the people that are really going to enjoy having it want it. And it's not going to serve, if you know how to install a video card, it's probably not for you. But there's lots of gamers who just like want an easy solution.
I don't even think it's that simple. I like installing video cards, and I also like consoles, and I am kind of a sucker for accessories and extra junk. I like this stuff. I would normally be all in on this. If this is a Vita 2, I'd be in on this. This is something I would want.
Yeah.
But I don't. They're not even getting me with it, and I like all the little stupid extras. So I don't know. I know there are people who want this because I've seen them in our own Discord, and they've made some interesting points about why they want the thing they want. I just would like to hear some hands-on, Like,
I just feel like these kinds of devices, ones that stream only, they should be dirt cheap. It's like buying a trailer and not a car.
Right.
Like the engine, there's no engine in it.
Right.
Something else is pulling you along. So like, why is the trailer more expensive than the car? Like what's special about this that I'm going to pay so much? Because I feel like even 400's a lot, 200's a lot for basically a calculator. Like, it's how sophisticated components do you need to just have a screen that streams and a controller?
Well, if you think about it this way, so this thing will also have all the functions and features of the DualSense controller. Again, I'm holding one here. These are $79. So if you if you think about that there's a $79 control mechanism in here with all the adaptive triggers and all the crap they put into this thing, and then you're just adding a screen. I mean, at 79 plus another whatever, you're getting close to the 200. So I don't think it's crazy.
It's a crazy price for what it is. I just think it's a crazy price for what it does. But I'm also not the person who needs it. You know,
right?
I paid a stupid amount for a cable to try and get streaming off of my PlayStation 5 to work, and it was just a dumbass cable that I needed, and it was expensive. And it turns out I didn't even need it, but I thought I did, and I bought it. And you know what? It was a stupid price for a cable, but when you need the cable, you spend the money and you do it. So like that's where it's at.
Yep. Well, we'll see how it goes. They're already having a hard time pushing VR 2.0. I don't know how they're going to do with this. Meanwhile, their console's selling great and doing fine. Like we
haven't heard anything about their report on PS2 VR so far, right?
Just analysts saying that it sounds like a tank, but that doesn't mean that's for sure. Yeah. But Sony, I think Sony would be out in front saying, we've never had a add-on accessory sell the way the PSVR 2 has.
Right, we got to wait till the earnings call if somebody reports anything.
Yeah, it may have happened and I missed it, or I don't remember. But
I'm just googling headlines now. I think it's a little too early still. They probably have their sales plan that they're still releasing games. You guys, it's not in the news anywhere, but you saw that Bulletstorm VR officially is coming.
Yeah,
it's not a mod. They're full on re-releasing.
I thought of you. That's the first thing I thought of. I think didn't we see it?
A classic. Yeah,
we may have seen it when we were watching the opener.
We've talked about it before. It's a classic one-off game that's just a really good shooter of that late 2000s era.
Yeah,
has like very juvenile humor, but the actual gameplay, you're not going to it for the humor. The gameplay is actually pretty.
The game's awesome. I love Bulletstorm.
Yeah.
Bulletstorm's great, and you can flip people off. And I assume in VR you can also do that. You can flip them off. I mean, why would you do it in VR if you couldn't flip them off? You know,
that's just removing a feature if you can't.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's in the trailer. I think it's confirmed feature for the VR version. So.
Well, there you go. Coming soon to all VR platforms near you. Now, this.
Wesker.
It's time for us to talk about the games we played this week, and we're going to start with a combination talk once again about how things are going in Baldur's Gate 3, which we've all been playing, of course.
All right.
Bo, word is you're in Act 3, eh?
I'm in Act 3. Yeah. I just started. I've arrived outside of Baldur's Gate.
Is there anything
Act
to
1
this?
And 2 done for me.
Is there anything to this idea that 3 is buggy as hell? Have you seen any big problems? Because I keep hearing, 3 is a mess.
There's I'm not sure what I did, but there's in behind this building, there's these 2 NPCs that are talking. There's some dogs. And for me, when I go to talk to them, the game hangs. I just can't input anything. I can go to the menu and reload a game, but I can't move any of the characters. I can't break out of it. It doesn't start dialogue, and it just hangs there.
Weird.
And that happened to me today, in fact, before the show. I have a laundry list of bugs, none of them game ending or breaking, but there's definitely been problems. I can't say that there's been more in Act 3, but I have come across one game-breaking bug. And the first one I've come across, and it's in Act 3. Also, frame rate definitely taken a bit of a dip in Act 3. Now, for me, it's never right away. Usually, when the game's been running for a few hours, it can start to lag. And I turned some graphics down a little bit for Act 1 and 2, and it resolved itself and didn't happen. But now that I'm in Act 3, once my game client's been open for about 2 or more hours, it starts to show, like, it's not like a bad frame rate, it's like hitchiness. It's like the frame rate will be good, and then for a few seconds it'll go, and then it'll go back to normal. But it's annoying. I hate it.
Yeah, so. I've run into some issues with Act 3 as well. Not really any new bugs. The bugs I encountered in the other acts as well. So I haven't really seen anything too crazy. It definitely feels like, by its nature, Act 3 demands more of your system. I actually think Act 3 is probably the first dip in quality that I have felt from Baldur's Gate 3. It doesn't make the game a bad game. But up to Act 3, I was definitely feeling like, oh my gosh, this game might be perfect. You know, minor little gripes and bugs here and there aside. This is a pretty perfect experience. I think they made a really interesting decision with where Act 3 is set. It's it's in the city. The game's called Baldur's Gate. We're not dealing with a Diablo situation here. The city Baldur's Gate is in Baldur's Gate. The game does contain what's in the title.
Yeah.
And I don't. I think that like the issue is that when you're running around a forest and you run into a NPC and they go, help, there's a problem. You have a real like clear direction on where to go, what to do. And it's wide open. You know to either go talk to that person or avoid them or whatever you want. I think when you're in the city, you're surrounded by like they want it to feel like a city, and it does. Like they do a tremendous job. One that has made the graphical requirements and demands on my system go up considerably because they're loading a lot of citizens that are just chilling, and you can't really talk to them or interact with them. But the other problem with that is it makes it harder to discern what's important and worth your time and what isn't. Which also ties into, and I won't get into it, some story stuff where I'm now at a point where a certain thing happens storyline wise, and I talk to people and I can't tell if they would have been an interesting dialogue or if I have just locked myself out of having a better dialogue option with certain people. So it also highlights, technical limitations. This game is very, very good, plays very, very well. But sometimes if you want to go upstairs in a building, it's a bigger challenge than it should be. You're like, I'm clicking the stairs, and your character walks under the stairs. And you're like, no, I'm clicking the stairs. I'm not clicking under the stairs. I'm clicking the stairs. And you fiddle with the camera a little bit and you get it and it works.
Sure.
Well, when you're set in a city, you've got a lot of verticality. There's a lot of stairs. There's a lot of going up. There's a lot of where's the camera positioning. And I'm just spending a lot more time doing tedious things that I haven't had to do in the first two acts because of the nature of it being in the city. So it's not the end of the world, but I'm definitely enjoying Act 3 less than Act 1 or 2. It definitely pumped the brakes a little bit for the game for me by the nature of where it is set.
Interesting.
But I'm still having a good time with it. I will say that I had to throw out about 3 hours, I think 3.5 hours of progress, because I got a bad ending to the game. I
finished the game.
I finished the game technically. I saw a ending. It wasn't good. It was pretty bad. But basically,
credits ending or game over?
Yeah, credit roll.
This was a game over, but it was a game over at what I think could have been the end of the game. But basically, I'll just say, I talk around spoilers. This will not be spoilery about the end of the game. I made a decision. Or actually, I tried something. This game, there's a lot of experimentation.
Absolutely.
I got in a fight and I got my butt kicked. I got absolutely obliterated in a fight. And I went, man, I didn't even understand what happened in that fight. So I tried the fight again, got my butt kicked a second time. And I was like, I wonder if, I'm going to have to do this fight soon. I didn't really intend to do it at that point, but I was like, I'm going to have to do this fight soon. I'm going to try this one more time. And I'm going to experiment. So I started seeing what I could do to set up and prep for the fight. I discovered something. And as a result of the discovery, I won the fight way before I intended to win the fight.
Like an environmental thing, like something in the world, and you were like, oh, shit.
Yeah, well, also, I kind of feel like the boss killed himself. There were some weird AI decisions made in that fight. It was all like mechanics, but he did one thing that I was just like, what are you doing, dude? And it didn't work out good for him, and he never recovered from it. But anyway, I won a fight that I wasn't really intending to do, and it had lasting consequences on the world. The world changed based on this fight being over in a way that I wasn't really ready for. So I already kind of in the back of my head was like, I think I might reload this save and try and wrap up some of this other stuff before I do this. But seeing as how I've broken the world, let me see how much I've broken the world. So I started checking on things, and it had made my life really difficult, and things were going really bad. People were mad at me. Things were just spiraling out of control further and further. So I went, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go beat the game. So I just decided to focus on the main quest and proceeded with objectives. And this the snowball that I started of bad decisions kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I kept making worse and worse decisions. I failed like 8 checks in a row. And was like, well, this just keeps getting worse. I probably should have succeeded on one of those. This is not going well. Somebody else showed up as like it almost felt like what the DM would do if the DM's like, boy, your dice are just bad. Let me throw you a little vine. And I slapped that vine away. Oh, and I don't need help. I'll solve this game myself. And the DM was like, fine, there's no helping you. And then the DM gave me another get out of jail free card, and I rolled it up and I threw it in his face. And I said, keep your card, man.
Yeah.
And then the game ended because I was too hostile towards the DM. And it turns out you can be too stubborn in a video game.
And it was this point you're like, I got to go find an old save and try all this over with.
Yeah. So it turns out it was about 3.5 hours of gameplay, and I reloaded it. And we're going to do things very differently now. But yeah, I did technically get to an ending. It didn't give me credits because the game was like, you're not satisfied with this, right? Like, it was sort of like the one Bo and I had mentioned about, maybe being a little too bold in front of a deity.
Have you gotten to the Crash, the Githyanki Crash, Scott?
You got there. I think I'm saved right there. I think I'm saved because I just got there. Yeah.
Have you gotten to the scientist's room?
No.
Okay, so you just got there. Okay.
Yeah, I just got there and saved. So.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So we're trying not to spoil things. So.
Right. I'm sure all that stuff plays out in big ways though later on. I have like a lot.
Yeah.
Of
I mean, there's a lot of. It's like it really does feel like a journey. There's a lot of stuff that happens, so it's not. It's just very memorable and surprising, and I'm curious. It's always fun when someone makes the decisions, and you don't influence them, right? To see what they decide to do in the scenario. So I don't want to take that from.
Did you? So is John or who's furthest in this game? I'm not that it's a contest, but how far?
Apparently, John. I mean, I
think I am.
Yeah. So I just got to Rivington, and I haven't gotten into Worms Crossing yet, so I'm just in that. There's a brothel and the flop house, and I'm solving a murder.
Yeah,
and just generally being harassed by one of the antagonists, and yeah. So I'm sure you're further.
I'll put it this way: there is a quest to collect 3 MacGuffins. I have 2 out of the 3 MacGuffins, and I have played where I've had 3 out of the 3 MacGuffins. So
right, okay, there you go. I have 1 MacGuffin.
MacGuffins are usually things you don't want, though, because they're MacGuffins.
I'm just using it as a general term, like to avoid talking about exactly what it is.
Okay, so that's actually a good idea.
MacGuffin is also the name of my parents' dog. So
really, MacGuffin?
Yeah,
I love that for a dog's name.
We call him Mac, but
I'm doing that next time I get a dog.
His name's MacGuffin.
I love that.
Good, actually.
That's actually really good. Any other thoughts about where we're at and what we're doing? I mean, we're all.
Well, it's hard to share. So, like Scott, I think at least anything you talk about and share, we can talk about in full. So, like Act 1, it's just like it's not hot on our minds right now. But you must have things hot on your mind. You already talked a bit about
not so much hot. I just
Shadowheart, but
I lost.
So
Shadowheart.
who did you side with in the goblins and versus tieflings?
I sided with the tieflings. Oh, I was going to tell you guys this. Okay, so this is pretty stupid and funny. So I sided with the tieflings because they're freaking kids in there, and I cannot see them all get slaughtered. And goblins are just little pieces of shit. So it was an easy choice. For me. So my goal was to go to that stronghold and wipe out every goblin possible, the drow lady, and everything in there. That's where Shadowheart took a dive down the pit.
Did you have some alone time with Priestess Gut?
No. Oh, yeah, I did. I had a bunch of time with her. She was just trying to. I almost lost an eye. Did this happen to anybody else?
Yeah. So I the point I had gotten there, I'd resolved not to I had already. It depends how much you know about the story. It really affects your decisions there, because if you're just trying to get the illithid out, she will help you.
Right.
Until that point, she pulls the rug out from underneath your feet because she sees you as competition. She's going to kill you.
Yeah.
That's her whole plan, is to take out the competition. But she sweet talks you in a goblin way the whole time. But her idea of taking you to a room aside alone because the rest of your party members can't be in there is to basically off you. I don't know for sure, but I think there might be a game over possibility where she
kills you.
So yeah. So you didn't let her try the surgery on you, I presume.
No, she had me lay down. I did do that. I got all in the position to do it, and really one or two prompts away from like doing the deed, and I backed out. I went, I can't.
You got
do this.
nervous.
I did.
Well,
Here's why though. Here's why. Because Will, I'm playing Will, and Will only has one good eye. His eyes are effed as it is.
Oh man, I am curious what would happen if he lost an eye as well. That would be interesting,
right? I know.
Little word of advice: just think very carefully before you take Volo's help if it comes up as well.
Well, that's true in Soul Calibur as well. Well, never take Volo's help. He's a bastard. But no, the goblins I didn't trust anything anybody in there was saying to me. Nothing. And even
of course.
There's a couple of humans walking around working for him. Those guys are untrustworthy. And I really wanted the treasure in that room that you have to unlock, but you have to kill off everyone to get there. So I finally did it. I wasted every goblin in that place, every single one, and anyone supporting them. Had Vampire Boy open the gate, got the gold and a bunch of really great magic items. Don't even remember what they are now, but some good stuff. And I thought, look at me. I'm awesome. I'm just going to saunter out of here now. The victor. I'm the king of the world. Just took care of every goblin problem that anyone ever had. I totally forgot that on the other side of that front door are a million more goblins, plus some giant cave troll dudes, plus a bunch of other shit they got in there. I completely forgot about that. So here's how I handled it. I saved right before I left, just because that's what I do before I leave buildings. Smart move if you're trying to save your way to heaven.
Sure. Yeah.
And I walked out that thing, and they all went dunk, and they all immediately went into initiative because it was. They all know I just slaughtered everybody inside.
They heard the slaughter inside the building.
Yeah. Why they didn't come in, I don't know. But anyway, they were all upset and ready to murder me. And I'm looking up at the turn order, and it's like me, 15 goblins, a couple other of our people in our party, another 15 goblins. That list went on. It was like people were getting tickets to Taylor Swift in LA. Just went around the block. And I went, I'm not going to survive this. There's no way I beat all of these, including these huge thuggish whatevers. So I save scummed back into the building right before I went out. And then teleported to one of the outside teleporter things, which you can totally do. And I hope I never have to go back there and face any of that music because
maybe you can get a few more levels and you can come back and wipe the place out for the XP.
I might do that. I might.
It's non-linear, so if you want some enjoyable combat, you can always. Let's just say I basically the Goblin Camp was the last thing I did in all of Act 1, pretty much. Like I played around the Goblin Camp. Yes, that's why That's why I already kind of knew. I knew enough about the story to just immediately tell I was getting her in the room alone because I agreed to go to the room because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna assassinate the leader, then take everyone else out. So I kind of did what you did, but I was already pretty high level. So
yeah. But when you did you do the same thing? Did you wipe it, or did you side with the?
No, I was already so strong. I just went in there and
you just wrecked him.
I steamrolled everything. So level 4. I don't know if you're at level 4 yet, or sorry, level 5. Level 5 is a huge power spike because your martial classes get extra attacks. Makes a big difference getting 2 attacks a turn. And I have a fighter in my group. That means I can action surge one of those rounds for 4 attacks. And spells make a big difference too, like being able to go invisible and flee, or just cordon off, like divide and conquer, like just sort of sneak around, nuke a guy, flee combat.
Right.
But Karlach, you can throw a goblin into a goblin. It's the most satisfying thing in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finding combat. I'm sure it's going to get challenging in Act 3, but I found combat in Act 2 and once I hit level 5 in Act 1 to be pretty manageable because of Karlach. Because it's a slog to do damage, but it's easy to throw people into chasms. My goal is I'm always where's the hole? Karlach, throw them. If there's no hole, I throw them into each other, and I have gloves that add 1d4 damage to throws. She hasn't used a basic attack in weeks. I'm just immediately throwing stuff, and even even as a barbarian, she's a ranged character. If I don't have a person to pick up and throw, I have like 20 magic swords in my inventory. She's just like firing the magic swords at people. And I got a pretty sweet legendary weapon that returns to my hand now, so I can finally free her of all that.
Yeah, I got that too. That's
You
real
got that
nice.
too?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Although I gotta say, I'll tell you guys, I had one combat. I'm not kidding. That took me almost 2 hours.
Oh yeah, I've
complete.
had those too. Yeah.
It was insane. It was a very hard fight. Won't say what it was, but I will say that after the hardest part of the fight was done, my mage was dead. Gale was dead. Everybody was hurt, bloodied, like real close to death. The enemies I was fighting couldn't really kill me. They couldn't do enough damage. But what they would do is they would appear from being invisible, stab me twice, and then go invisible. And the game was not, either by glitch or intent, was not giving me perception checks to see them. They would be just pure invisible until they attacked. Well, the only person that could cast See Invisible was down. And anytime I got him up, they'd just appear and kill him before he got a chance to do anything again, because there was just enough of them. So it was just guessing where they might be and throwing stuff and just hoping they wouldn't be able to turn invisible. It was the worst encounter. And then even when it was all done, it glitched. And there was a character that had a sanctuary on where you can't do any damage to them unless they do damage to you. And this character would not attack me, but they were still considered hostile and I couldn't leave combat. So in turn-based mode, I had to make my way through a dungeon to this person. And the way I ended up doing it was I cast Wall of Fire under them, which circumvented the sanctuary issue, but it took so long. It took so long to kill this person, and it was so many turns of us because they were the last person left. They wouldn't attack me, so I was in no danger of dying, but it was just like intern.
Yeah.
Wow.
Intern. And the game was doing that thing. I don't know if either of you have had this where the game sometimes really has to think about what it wants to do, and a character will sit there probably for about 10 seconds before they act.
It's like environment, a little environment turn comes up and just spins for a bit. It reminds me of when you get deep into like Civilization, it just takes a while.
Yeah. It was that. So it was intern 4 times, wait while the game thinks, have their character do nothing, and then intern 4 more times and just do that over and over until this flame wall finally took them down. It was rough. So I guess that was technically an Act 3 bug as well, I think.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't had, as far as bugs, I haven't really had anything that was game breaking. I had a couple of funny things, like someone started talking to me and then for some reason picked up and moved across the screen to some other place. But I was able to finish the conversation and get where I wanted to go, so it was no big deal. But I haven't really had. It's surprising we haven't had more problems, for a game this big and complicated. It's impressive.
Some camera placement issues when you're wild shaping, like if you turn into a massive panther, it'll like show you talking, but it shows your abdomen and not your face. It's kind of annoying. Or sometimes the panther will be standing in front of the talking character, so you just see a pile of fur.
Yeah.
This is like, okay.
I had an NPC that clipped through the dock. And so my characters were just looking down at the ocean and being threatened by the sea. Because he's like, it's just like, it would just be a shot of water. Yeah. And it would just be this guy's like, I wouldn't come over here if I was you, lassie.
Yeah.
And then my characters would be like, whoa, sorry, it's fine for us to be here. And it's just a shot of water and them looking down at it.
Wow.
It was really, really funny.
Yeah.
And I knew that character had been there because on the earlier playthrough, he was there and he was a person. But now I think he fell through the earth or something. I could only look down at the water.
Open world jank, man. There's some fun to be had in it, even though this game's not technically an open world game. But it has that feeling of there's so much going on here. I'm surprised any of these townspeople are walking normal. I'm surprised I don't lose half the people I'm working with or have a busted save. The game, for all of its greatness, has some bugs, but I think it's pretty impressive how few there are. at least obvious ones. But I keep hearing,
any other,
you know, 3's a little
any
rough.
other interesting things that are happened on your adventure that we could talk about?
Oh, what else? Nothing crazy.
Like, have you been to the jungle, not jungle, but wetlands, the swamp to the south of the goblin camp?
No, although
Okay.
I thought about that. What else? So that whole area over there, I haven't really explored. Everything to the west and south of the ship landing crash. There's a lot of stuff in there I've never been to.
Yeah, so there's stuff to the west and then to the north. Did you go to there's a really good, I really like how they handled that encounter. There's a place called Joaquin's Rest that's on fire near the Knolls. I think you fought the Knolls, right? There you
Oh,
saw 'em.
so I talked to them on my first trip up there. You're the best. Sorry, my wife just brought me a Dr. Pepper, and I'm so excited.
Nice.
Thanks, babe. You're the best. Anyway, I got up there and, I got there, talked to them at the gate, and they didn't want to let me in for some reason. Don't remember what the deal was, but everything's on fire. It's all cindery.
Oh, okay.
And they wouldn't let me
interesting.
in. So then I go kill all the goblins. I go back over there, and as soon as they see me, initiative roll. They're pissed. And I assume it's because they were aligned. They must have been aligned with the goblin camp, because why else would they be mad at me now?
Wait, like they're the humanoids at Joaquin's Rest, like the fist, like soldier look.
Yeah.
Whoa! You know what happened with me? How did you manage that?
I don't know, honestly.
I got let in. Oh, maybe I persuasion rolled my way in.
And
there's
man!
a fire.
Okay, so
then
I
you
forgot to say this.
Yeah.
The first time in there, I helped the guy, rescued the guy.
Okay, in the fire, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and that was
you
a
did
pain in the ass, and I hated it. By the way,
you go to turn-based mode, and it works a lot better. I don't know if you did that.
I did, and it worked better, but it still was dumb. And also, the thing spinning and waiting forever for someone to make a move was definitely happening with that survivor for some reason. It's like 10 seconds it took him to make a decision. But when I finally got him out of there, I got him out completely, and then wait, I really got to do that goblin thing before I keep moving north. So I'm going to go back and do
two people to
goblins.
rescue in there.
Oh, there are?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if the first guy died or something, because when I came back, they all hate me. Immediate combat. They're all mad now.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you might have not completed the rescue.
That might be it.
So the guy there's one guy who you save who doesn't have any clothes on, right? Like he's like this guy.
Yeah, he's like a
and
disheveled naked guy. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I think there's another one who's actually a pretty important NPC. I want to say on the right side of the building. Like he's on the left side if you orient yourself to the map facing north.
I think what happened too is I may have glitched something, because when we rescued him, he was in a room that was barred, that I hadn't blown out or broken or anything yet. I was going to have Karlak do it, but I didn't do it. But I could talk to him. And so I thought, well, I'll talk to him first, and then we'll decide how to destruct this wall. Well, talking to him put us all in there in a talking cutscene with that wall still there. So we were all in there going, hey, dude, what's the matter? And we got to get him out. And the whole conversation. And then when that went away, we're still outside. We weren't ever really in that room. So then we had to, I can't remember what happened. We had to break that down, but he was getting burned already, and it took forever because it was turn-based.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he died. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we got him killed on the way out or something.
Yeah, that might be why they're mad at you. And then you didn't know about the other NPC, who I think is a pretty important Fist member, because I've talked to her. She's been in Act 2, and I'm meeting up with her in Act 3. So unless like the team rescued her in the background, you met like a dark-skinned elf who's the leader of the Fist. Did you talk to?
I did talk to him that first time in there. Yes.
A woman, not a man.
It was a man. You sure it's a woman?
Oh.
Or I may not remember right. Maybe it was a woman.
Yeah, no, you might not have rescued her, because I think she's one of the people you got to rescue in the building.
I have talked to.
She's not as obvious.
It was like a dark skin, not drow, but like a.
Oh, maybe she was outside. She's kind of making maybe a drow. She's definitely a dark-skinned elf, though.
I would have sworn it was a dude. If you held a gun in my head, I'd say it was a dude. But maybe I talked to a lady. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking there are two NPCs to save in there, though. But yeah, that's interesting. Our playthroughs have diverged already in interesting ways, which is like the Fist is pretty big in the storyline. So the fact that you have a bad reputation with them doesn't mean you can't play the game. It's just that's
just how it is now. Yeah. I don't know if there's any way to repair it or to even know what I did. Go back through.
You'll probably be fine. Like I don't think there's. I guess like at a certain point you ask yourself, do I care about these factions? Because one thing I'm getting from Act 3 is, and I don't really know because I'm still not yet inside Baldur's Gate, but there are a lot of factions in the city, like an absolute ass load. So you're not going to be friends with every single faction. I think in the city, I know I've already pissed off 2 of them at the same time.
Yeah,
because they're like both offering me money to help them, and I'm like, I don't care about you guys, so they both attacked me. I don't know who the hell you are. So I think you'll probably be fine. It's just interesting how it diverges.
yeah.
And have you done too much underground yet, or have you gone?
No, but that's next. That's my next thing after I finish up with Lazelle's little side business.
Okay, so did you got Halson then? And you said you rescue Halson?
I did.
Yeah,
he's great.
Well, that's good because then he'll join you if you ask him. I think.
He's supposed to.
You didn't accidentally kill a druid or something like that.
He's supposed to meet me somewhere. Maybe he's just in camp, and I haven't been back to camp since.
Usually he's at camp. Typically.
Okay. Yeah, he's probably at camp.
The Druid Grove or camp.
Did you guys flip out this week when we found out that voice actor listens to the show that does that druid?
Yeah. I think it's Dave Jones. Sorry, I don't want to get it
Dave,
wrong.
crap. I have to look it up. That's so
I
exciting.
had the biggest double take. Like you tweeted something, and then someone was correcting you, and I was like, okay, yeah, listener was correcting. Like I didn't think anything of it, like at all. And then I think it took me a day, and I was like, wait a second, that's the voice actor for. It's Dave Jones. That's the voice actor for Halson. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Wait a second.
That was one of the funniest things because I logged on Twitter that morning and I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I responded to him and I was like, because I genuinely think this. I feel like we haven't said it much on the show, and so maybe now's a really good time to say it. The voice performances and the performances in general in this game are exceptional.
They're really
I mean,
good.
I think there is a reason why you have, between the 3 of us, so many people in love with so many of these characters, and it is because it is performed exceptionally well. But regardless, I saw that he had responded to a tweet of yours, or he had tagged us in a tweet. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. So I responded and said, hey, that's awesome. And, thank you. You did an awesome job and love the performance from you and everybody. And then I wrote in Discord to you guys. I was like, damn, I should have been rolling with Halson this whole time. And both you and Bo were like, well, Scott was the first to respond, and he goes, Shadowheart for life. And I was like, okay, fine. I was like, what? I don't think Scott knows why I said that. He just reaches.
Well, do you know why? Because at that point, I had met Halston in the game, but he had not. I didn't think he was ever going to get to be a part of anything I was doing. I didn't know he was going to be a playable. I had no idea. So at that point, it was like, oh, okay. Because now I don't know. I want him on the team now. Like when I go back to camp, I'm going to have to make a hard-ass decision on something.
Yeah, it's hard to pick your party. Yeah. But then Bo just started talking about other things in general, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm the only person that thinks this is cool. That's fine. I'm fine with being the only person that's starstruck apparently and thinks this is neat. Yep. And then 8 hours goes by, and then Bo jumps back in Discord and is like, holy shit, freaking out. But a whole day had gone by.
Yeah, it didn't click with me at all. I was like, what the hell? It was amazing. Yeah. Anyways.
Plus, they just had a wonderful week of memes where they were all tagging on each other and doing voice stuff on Twitter and other social media.
Do you know the context of why he even responded in the first place? Which was we were talking about Matt Berry, how Matt Berry was a voice actor.
Is the Matt Berry of the party.
Oh, right.
But if Matt Berry was in the show, then we'd have to end all romances and simply romance Matt Berry's character, because
Why wouldn't
so, but apparently the guy who voice acts Gale is an actor named Tim Downey, who is in Toast of London with Matt Berry. I haven't seen Toast of London.
Heard good things. Here it's very funny.
Yeah, I know Matt Berry from IT Crowd, and I know him from What We Do in the Shadows and other things, but I haven't. And my sister loves him too. I think he's been in some other things, but Toast of London just missed me. So, but I know who Tim Downey is. I didn't know him by name, but I clicked the link and I'm like, oh, I've seen this guy in tons of shit. He's a great actor. He's there's a cadre of British actors that you know them, but you don't know them well enough where you know their name, but you definitely see them in lots of BBC productions and things like that. And His face is one of them to me. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, very.
He's great.
So there you go. So he's like Matt Berry adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 And we got this.
And
oh, go ahead.
to what you said, Scott, like it's not often that you see it does happen, and somebody pointed out Overwatch was one of these when it first came out, and that's true, but like it's not often that you see like voice actors really embracing I mean even any actor really
Yeah.
really getting on social media and just reveling in the role that they got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like what the Baldur's Gate 3 performers have been doing, and it has been an absolute joy. If you don't follow them on Twitter or, you know, whatever social media platform they're on, it's worth going and seeing. I think my favorite that I've seen so far, not to necessarily pick favorites, but you all got to admit it was pretty good, was the actress who plays Lizelle read mean tweets about Lizelle as the character.
Yeah.
And insulted the people who were insulting her, and she did it all with a facial filter that made her look like Lizelle while she was doing it. It gave her the bat nose and the eyes. That was pretty spectacular.
Yeah,
so
it was really good. My favorite was the Karlak actress. I thought I capped it, and I can't find it now, but where she says something like "F it, I'm going to Build-A-Bear."
yeah,
I can't remember the line, but it's so good because it's so her. And I don't know that maybe this is the people that don't get credit for this a lot of times are directors for voice actors.
Yes.
Liam's done this a few times. He was that at World of Warcraft for the entirety, I think, of what was the big Illidan expansion? My brain just went dead.
Legion.
Was it Legion? Or where's the one where I am
Burning Crusade?
Was where I am my
Legion.
scars.
Legion is I am my
okay.
scars. Yeah.
For a chunk of that he did actual direction. And those people, these usual director guys, I don't think they get the credit they deserve because it's their job to bring everybody to whatever quality level, get it the way they want it, do enough takes to get what they need, and then have it be really cohesive in the end product. And this game is the best of the year. I've not heard anything better this year out of video game voice acting than I've heard in Baldur's Gate 3. So, John, you're absolutely correct. No, and the fact that they're having this much fun with it actually, the only thing it really reminds me of is those guys having fun with it around the initial launch of Overwatch 1. And, you know, seeing those guys goof with each other and do it on stage and do it over the internet or whatever. But it's all fantastic. And I will say, Shadowheart's voice actor, as lovely and beautiful as the character she portrays. Not to be creepy.
Oh my gosh, Scott.
Lovely young woman.
You're going to get a restraining order on the internet from Shadowheart. I think it's...
to go to horny jail.
Yeah, too much, man.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Direction is very important. I think Final Fantasy XIV is the best example of this. The original, like A Realm Reborn, you look at the cast of A Realm Reborn, they are some extremely prolific and talented voice actors, like incredible people with incredible resumes. And notoriously, A Realm Reborn voice acting is garbage. And it is not because those are not talented actors. Far from the truth. I just have a feeling, I don't know, I haven't gotten to talk to any of them, although Scott, you may have a window to do so. But I haven't gotten to talk to them, but I have a feeling they just didn't understand the scope of what they were saying, the context, in the same way that when you see that game get to Heavensward and they change the voices, it's not better because the voices change. I think it's better because the direction behind it changed. Because they go from just sort of saying words and it could mean anything to like they know what they're saying and why.
Right.
So I think that that's important. I think you're absolutely right. Voice direction is key.
Yeah, and they killed it here. So whoever that is freaking killed it. So good.
We can't, you know, as much as we like the game, we can call out some imperfections. I would say whoever's doing the production, the audio engineer working on it, probably has his work cut out for him. There's a lot there, but I definitely notice EQing variability between some of the lines. Like sometimes it's the same voice actor, performance still excellent. Some lines very tinny, very trebly, and then it'll switch to bassy. Like the timbre will change
Oh, like location
between line
changed.
to line.
Yeah.
Now I play with headphones on. Maybe if you're playing on a TV, you won't notice it, but it's like really noticeable. I like the game so much that if it stays that way, it's fine.
It's very
But
small, yeah.
depending on how they want to work on the bugs and Definitive Edition, I
Yeah.
think they should get their audio engineer to maybe relook at.
I even noticed that with our Halcyon
level
friend, our druid pal. He was talking to me about whether we wanted to keep him on or not. And he went from, you could tell, it was almost like ADR in a movie. You could tell he recorded in one space for most of his stuff. And then there was this little bit where it was just like muffle or whatever, and it was different. And
it
my
could be
guess
location, but that could also just be post. That could be post processing too, right?
I mean, it could. It didn't. To me, it sounded like
I know
this was all
that,
recorded in the pandemic.
Was
so.
somewhat unique because I do know that they did a lot of performance capture on it as well. Like, and we're actually in there interacting with one another, because that's a lot of the stuff that they have shared, is that it was a very open and collaborative process. But you can see if they were there doing that for a period of time, you can also see maybe like if there were a couple things that just needed to be picked up real quick, maybe that was recorded separately. I don't know, but apparently we might find out.
Yep.
We could always ask.
We're find out.
Shit.
But overall, I think the vocal performances are incredible, as well as the facial capture. You know, we were talking about how good NetherRealm Studios has been with their facial technology, but like I see it in that game too. Like, and they don't have to put that level. Like, most of this game is played like a bird up in the air. So the fact that I've seen really good facial performances out of it is extremely impressive, because not only is that hard to do, it's also a little unnecessary for a game that doesn't focus on faces all
Have you noticed it's almost always not you, though, that's so well animated? Like when
No, your character's a bit of a goof.
A little bit of a goof.
Now, let me tell you, if you put Stanley's mustache on him, extra goofus. I love petting the dog, but with that mustache on Stanley, it is the creepiest smile when he's petting the dog. I'm like, dog, you might want to run. Stanley looks like he's going to kill you.
You get out of here, boy.
It's not good. He looks like he's got the dark urge.
Yeah, I agree. It's just funny because Will, in all the video I've seen of Will where he's a secondary, non-playable, not origin character someone chose, he's like the rest of them. He's really well animated. His facial reactions feel natural. You can tell the actor mocapped a lot of that, right? But when I play as Will, it's a lot of like, I don't even know how to explain it. Just a lot of like nonplussed sort of goofball facial things.
Yeah, that's weird. So you haven't really heard a lot of his voice lines then, probably, right?
No, I've heard. I mean, I hear these here and there.
I think you should play. I think you should can your playthrough and play as a custom character.
Yeah, you're not far enough, Scott. Just throw it out and start over. I mean, you're not a.
I've thought about it. I always like the idea of at least one of my playthroughs being one of these characters they made, because it's fun. I don't know. It's fun to see what they intend to do. I guess I would get that either
but you'll
way.
never hear any of the voice acting they recorded for him.
Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty. You know, he's a British. He's a Brit, and you find out like he's very like kind of hoity-toity. Like you think he's a warlock, and he's gritty, but he's actually not that gritty. He's like pretty polite society kind of person, and charming, and knows how to do formal dances. And he's not quite, I think, what you could project onto him if you weren't hearing his lines. I don't think.
Yeah, he's a little muted with me.
I mean, and have you had a lot of interaction with his patron?
Yeah, I've talked to her a bunch. She's great.
You do end up talking to her a lot?
Oh yeah, a whole bunch. Especially when you go for long rests or go to camp. There's always some cutscene with her. So I get a lot of stuff with her.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, 'cause I don't see her that much unless something big happens. But.
She's a beast. I want her as my main character. I don't think you can do that. I can make something close to it.
I don't know.
She's so
man.
cool.
Devils.
She's so cool.
One of the things the game's done a really good job as an Act 3 is picking a side, without spoiling things, but choosing the path forward. It's really, there's a number of, I say factions. I'm not saying factions in the same way I meant it earlier, where there's just like factions in Baldur's Gate. I mean, there's a number of characters that now need you, and are all plying for you to make a decision. Like I've had a really long conversation with Raphael now, And man, whoever's voice acting Raphael is amazing because it's easy when you're talking to him to get caught up and feel flattered, and then actually feel a little bit of pain when you're going to disappoint him because he's a devil. And why would I agree? And then somehow the voice acting makes me feel like I'm an idiot. And the writing, like, it does a really good job of making me feel dumb for not making a deal with the devil. And he's like, "I'll be right with you all the way up until the very last minute." And it's like I don't know. There's something so charming. Raphael is so well done. It's insane.
It's really good. He reminds me a lot of a thing you did once. I'm still saying.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't voice act it that good, but yeah, same.
Very similar vibe.
I mean, they're devils. Well, on that front, like, I think they're just sort of being true to the nature of what those creatures are, right? Devils want your soul. Yeah. And so, it's not, I'm not the first to write a character like that.
No, it's a tropey space people are familiar with, but
yeah. And but still, yeah, it's, they've done I think what they've done is done a really good job of not being like, obviously this guy's a devil and you shouldn't take his deal. You're like, am I supposed to take his deal? Like, what? Like, because the alternative is this other terrible thing that maybe is also involves me losing. What's really good is not just my humanity, because I've been such a good leader. I have all the NPCs. I'm like, how does this? I'm making a decision for all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how does this decision affect them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there you go. Another deep look at where we're at in the video game known as Baldur's Gate 3, the unending
hard not
experience.
to get lost into it,
Yeah, it's hard not to. But I will say this. Well, we have 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2 weeks until So
I have a logistics question. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
About that, because like we'll be playing this for a while, but at the same time we're all playing at different paces.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, do you think at the pace you're going at, and I'm not trying to rush you or anything like that, but when we can like do a full breakdown of the entire journey, we're gonna like, John's already kind of crossed the finish line. I'm probably gonna cross the finish line in a week or so.
Yeah.
I think you're still in Act 1, so I expect it might take a little longer.
It'll be a while. Yeah.
So I wonder what the plan is for the full retrospective.
Well, we should do a bonus. We should do a bonus thing.
I think we'll do a bonus.
Yeah. We'll make it for patrons or something. Because, why not? Let's lock stuff behind paywalls. We're like video games themselves,
Yeah.
We'll just stick it back
also,
there.
it's good that it's behind a paywall, because then you're like, well, I don't want to be spoiled on it, so I don't need it.
You're not going to stumble into it.
Yeah,
sure.
you won't just fall into it. But yeah, I think we ought to do that at some point. I mean, I'm pretty excited about Starfield, and it's only 2 weeks away. The idea of me getting anywhere close to being near Act 3's conclusion seems impossible at this point, given my schedule.
Well, you're a serial polygamist when it comes to video games, right? Whereas John and I are more serial monogamous. Like, when we got a game that hooks us, we're in for weeks.
Oh yeah, I have
you're
shiny.
Like, I like this game, but I'm playing other shit. Sorry, honey.
Yeah,
like,
I have kind of a polyamory deal. I'm going to get emails.
And you love all the games too, so it's very amory. Emphasis on the amory.
Yeah, on the amory.
Super amory, you guys.
Yeah,
most amory.
Yeah,
and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just different techniques and styles and approaches.
Sure.
But I know, like, as like part of the juice of playing Baldur, the games like this, which I never got from you guys with Disco Elysium because neither of you finished it.
Yeah,
is just comparing what happened, and at least John is close to ending, so I know we can kind of have that fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll do something, whether it's some of us, all of us, or whatever. We'll give people like a big, because plenty of people, I mean, there are people behind where I am, and they bought the game the same day. They just haven't had time or whatever. So
streaming, it's been like that too. People have dropped in and be like, I wonder what you're going to do. John even dropped in and tried to get me to make decisions he probably didn't make. I
did. And then I felt guilty that I was like pushing him. So I was just made it clear. I'm like, hey, just don't listen to me. I'm just nudging you in various directions for chaos.
Go ahead, make out with that Illithid. You want to.
Just do it.
When Magus in the chat says it's kind of cute that you think Scott will finish Baldur's Gate. Look, I beat Original Sin 2. I beat games I want to beat. All right, I get around to them.
It's a timing thing.
Yeah.
He even beat Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Not quite.
No, he didn't.
Not quite. But I'm getting there.
Oh, no.
I'm close.
Okay.
This close.
That was the one game you promised you'd finish. I
Yeah,
assumed
the only game he's ever promised he'd finish.
Yeah, the rest of them,
the big no.
it's all up in the air. But
He
yeah.
did also say before he played it, he was going to finish Final Fantasy 16. That was going to be the first one.
Well, that was because it started off so strong, and then
They broke the contract, John. Not Scott.
I got out of the contract early because they overpromised and underdelivered for me what they wanted to do in the back nine of that game. All that being said, I think this one will get beat at least once, if not more, over time. But I don't feel a rush to do it. Like the only thing that feels like pressure right now is that Starfield appears to be just as big in terms of like the experience that it's going to be. It's a big experience.
Yeah.
And I really am looking forward to that. So, it's just going to get weird, but like Original Sin, like I feel like I played that over.
So are you doing early?
No, I don't want to do the extra $30. I don't know.
It seemed like a pretty bad deal, so I thought about it too. But I was like, I'm still playing Baldur's Gate 3. There's like maybe I'd try Armored Core or the 100 other games that have come out in the past 2 weeks. Like our Discord's literally like, guys, you should play this. Guys, you should play this. And I'm like, but I can't. Like,
I used to think that previous years were embarrassment of riches for gamers, but this year is off the charts.
This summer's been wild. I mean, we saw it coming for a while now, but it's been pretty wild.
It's insane to me, but I do look forward to Starfield. I can't help it. I'm stoked about that. I'm a Bethesda game guy. I love their games. I always have. I don't have hate for them. Skyrim was a life-altering game experience for me. A game I did beat and spent 400 hours in, or whatever the hell it was. Multiple times. I bought that game 3 times? Because you sure can. There's always a Skyrim to buy if you want to buy one. And if this is this is at that level, if this can be, I don't know what other Bethesda games did that. I guess New Vegas is that for me. If they can be that big of a deal for me this time, it might be all I care about for a while, and then I'll come back to Baldur's Gate. It's just the way this works now,
Starfield's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to review well, and I think it's going to.
I think it's going to be great. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I base that on nothing. Other than past.
I don't know like a fantasy setting if it's going to be everyone's cup of tea. But people really like Fallout, so I don't know why they wouldn't like space. But,
yeah, and I love space, so bring on the space. Oh, you remember that game you told me, Bo, I should try to check out? I ended up getting a code for it just out of the blue. What was that called?
Jump Light Odyssey?
Yeah. I haven't tried it yet, but
yeah, so I think Ziggurat, because he lives in the same city as the developers and he's a regular of the show, he said he was going to... I think he said he could only get one code. He was going to try and get codes for us. He'd be like, support. He's like, Core's great. And I don't know who he ended up sending.
I don't think he sent it to me. I think I got it I got it through one of my other sources. So
I got a code.
You did?
I got to play it. Yeah, I got a code.
Oh, well then John got it.
I just haven't played it.
Yeah, I told him to... This isn't me trying to take credit for being the good guy, but I told him to send it to you guys and I'll buy it. So I'm pretty sure I meant. So you guys should be getting the code for it.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, I want to check it out. I just haven't yet.
Kind of Ziggurat.
Baldur's Gate has dominated everything.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah,
I got distracted for about 8 hours with ship tearing apart ships and ship
but
graveyard.
Did you try this game though, Scott?
Not yet. It's installed. I haven't started it yet, or haven't played it yet.
Oh man.
It looks cool.
Look really cool.
Yeah, it looks up our alley. So
I mean, a USS Enterprise simulator is, I feel like, a full-on something we don't really have, and this looks like the closest thing to it. So
yeah, it looks neat. We'll talk more about that next week, actually, because I think I'll have a chance to maybe play a bit of it. As far as other games we played, I played a game that John was the first person I'd ever heard talk about it. And when I found out it was from the Monster Train people, a game I love. Like, for all you... Look, Slay the Spire, it's an important game. It created a whole subgenre. Nothing but respect at Slay the Spire. But my favorite one of those is not Slay the Spire. It's Monster Train. I love Monster Train. Great game. So when John told me about Inkbound and it was the same devs, I got very excited. And you play the demo, I think is back when I first heard of it, during one of those demo runs or demo days or whatever the hell they called them, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I got to go, get that or whatever. They've been in early access for a bit. They finally had a sale. It's down to $15. And I went, you know what? I'm grabbing it. let's see.
This is Inkbound.
Inkbound. And I fired it up, and John undersold Inkbound. I think Inkbound is...
I said it was really good.
I know. It's better than you said, and you already said it was really good. Like, that's how good it is. Inkbound is awesome. It's still in early access. There's a lot left on their roadmap, so time matters in this case, but it's not a finished game. But it is so good. It takes everything I love about roguelikes and everything I don't like about them and takes those out. It takes things I like about turn-based combat and adds twist to it I didn't expect. That whole like real-time, half turn-based, like I can move in a certain circle and do certain things, and then I've got trinkets that can maybe help me do more, which is a lot like Slay the Spire style stuff from their Monster Train game. There's just this like mix of mechanics that make that game amazing. That game's amazing. I've only played 4 games, and I'm convinced this is going to be like a long-term thing for me. This is going to be
really good.
Oh, it's really good, you guys. And
the biggest thing that has kept me from getting into it, because I purchased it as well, and I haven't played it since I purchased it, is that there's so many games that have genuinely come out this year that I'm just not giving my time to early access right now. It's nothing personal at them, but there's enough completed games for me to play that I will wait on experiences that aren't finished yet.
It makes perfect sense to do that. And I don't blame you at all. In fact, I only picked it up for the sale, but I was like, well, let's just poke in here and just see what this stink is about. It is a very, very cool everything so far. I think it is rad. I think it's a very cool looking game. I like the art style. There's a pacing to it that just feels great. They are listening to the community. There's a lot of consternation early on about how it had to have an online all the time mode. And they said, all right, well, we listened and we're going to change that. So now this latest update includes offline mode and you can jump between the two.
I'll say that was maybe the one thing that I kind of was down on, is it definitely felt like it wanted to be an online game, and it was not an experience I was looking for. It's like going to a pizza place and they keep pushing you on like anchovy pizza, and it's like they're like, well, but it's world famous anchovy pizza.
Right.
Like, okay, but that's not what I'm here for. So can I just not have the anchovies on it? They're like, but it's world famous anchovies.
Yeah, it did feel
like, okay. That's fine. I'll just have
like that.
Just a cheese pizza then. Just keep the anchovies for yourself. And that's how I felt about the online component. It felt like it kept being like, but we have online, and I was like, no, I'm good. This seems like a great game without it, so I don't need it.
Yeah, I'm excited now though. Like with this new perspective I have on them being willing to give people what they want. Now I do want to kind of co-op in this. I want to see what's up because this sounds interesting. Co-op in here sounds interesting. I haven't tried it, but it seems like there's something there. Totally into it though. It's very, very cool. And just mashes up about 4 things I love and does it in a way that is kind of unique in a lot of ways. Like their world they're setting up here and the terms for their cards, and in some ways it's almost too obscure. Like it's all very weird. Like the magic user is like has a giant spool of thread on his back, and you're throwing threads at the enemy, and then those threads stay attached, so then you can use further abilities that will electrify everyone who's currently threaded. It's just different in good ways, but you kind of have to get your head around it and go, okay, well, this isn't just using common terms I'm used to. So far, super rad. I'm going to play the shit out of this as time goes on, especially after 1.0, whenever that is, because if their other game is Indie Indicator, they know what I need. They know what drugs I want. So anyway, so John, I guess retroactive thanks to you and poo-poo on me for waiting.
I'm sorry I undersold it so badly. I'm sorry. Sorry I told you it was a good game.
Yeah, sorry you told me it was great.
Checking out.
Yeah, and that you bought it and said other people should also buy it.
Yeah, I didn't know that I was being so harsh.
Yeah, how weird.
Let us down.
Yeah. The other game I played was a Game Pass game, and it surprised me how much I liked this, so I want to recommend it. It was very brief because I just was like in there. In fact, I streamed it at first and then decided to download it. It's a nice thing about Game Pass. You can stream before you play or before you install. And it's a weird little indie called Toem or Toem. It's also on Steam, also on Switch, I believe, maybe consoles as well, PlayStation, Xbox. Well, Xbox for sure, but I don't know about PlayStation. But anyway, TOEM, really cool little indie game. If you are into Pokemon, what was that Pokemon game way back in the day on the N64? You took pictures. What was that called?
Pokemon Snap.
Snap, that's it. There's some of that. That gameplay. There's some hidden object stuff going on, which I'm normally not even a fan of, like find all the things or whatever. I don't care about that. But you're a little third-person, black and white art style drawing dude. You're a little lamb character, and you have a camera. And your job is to go into these worlds and use that camera to find certain things. At some point, I had to catch a bunch of ghosts, but I could only do it if I had a certain lens on the camera so I could see the ghosts. And you get quests and you talk to different little denizens, and they're all very cute and wholesome, and they're all like very like, hey, I can't find my weird cat. Please see if you can go find him. And then it's kind of just a mission. And you have other missions going on, but you might, oh, there's the cat, or there's some cat paw marks. I'll bet that cat's over here. And you get a picture of it, you come back, you get paid, for doing stuff.
This seems cool. I like this.
It's neat.
This looks neat.
Yeah, it's really neat. Very fun little thing. I didn't expect. It kind of came out of nowhere. Played really well, both streaming and downloading it, and it's cool. The Steam version's at currently overwhelmingly positive, I think, in both categories, both recent and long term. It's not horribly long, is my understanding, but maybe that's good. You don't want these kind of games to overstay their welcome, and yeah. I would play it if I were you. I didn't have a ton of time, but enough to tell that this will be a thing I'll go back to. And then I spent a lot of time this week playing a lot of old 16-bit baseball games because we had a Play Retro episode about baseball games from the NES, Genesis, up through, well, really everything before the 32-bit era. And it turns out there are a trillion of those damn things. And so a lot of my time was spent playing those. I'm happy to report you can listen to that Play Retro show and hear my the full take on it. But I'm happy to report that Ken Griffey Jr.'s winning run is still the best 16-bit baseball game ever made.
It's good to hear, Scott, because man, I love that game.
So good, dude.
Like you're telling me I got class. Like,
yeah,
this game's so good.
It's an amazing game. It holds up. It plays so great. I have it on the Ambernick, and I sunk way more time into that than I thought. And I forgot Rare makes those. So Ken Griffey Jr. 1 and 2, those are Rare games, which makes sense because those guys, it just felt better than your average stuffy baseball game. It just felt good. I love that second game. So anyway, winning run is my pick for best 8-bit, 16-bit era baseball game. John. Let's do. Oh, I have some music for this. Not really. It's not the final thing, but we'll do a little bit here. So here's this right here. It's an update on Frog Wrestling. Tell us what happened. I guess I got injured, is my understanding.
Yeah, you're injured, Scott. You're hopefully you're going to be feeling better by the time you have to defend your title. But you suffered a vicious beatdown at the hands of Tom Merritt, Ben Bumhofer, and Tanner Goodman.
3v1?
It wasn't 3v1, so it was an elimination table match where basically what happens as soon as you get put violently through a table, you're eliminated. I got eliminated early. Bo, you also got eliminated. I think one of them might have gotten eliminated too, but instead of finishing the match by putting Scott through, they all ganged up on him and just continued to hit him repeatedly with chairs and weapons and take turns slamming him to the ground, and it got so bad that the match had to be called.
Oh my gosh.
It was just too violent. So Scott is currently out injured. That's where you are, and we're wishing you a speedy recovery, Scott.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope you bounce back.
What's the prognosis though? Am I suffering from specific ailments now? Do I have
pain mostly?
Mostly pain.
You're in a lot of pain. Difficulty doing much of anything. Just
do I have my spleen still? Is that
probably, yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm not a doctor, so it's hard for me to say But we are wishing you well on your recovery.
Thanks.
Bo, on the other hand, had a great night. He got a little revenge. You know, people who've been following this know that Bo got kicked out of core for not winning matches that he was supposed to win. Scott kicked him out. And Bo is finally looking for a little payback since being ousted. And he got his hands on Brian Dunaway. And he made Brian Dunaway tap almost immediately from the taint no thing.
Wow.
Brian Dunaway did not want to taste the taint, and he tapped quickly. So congratulations to Bo for getting a little
Dunaway's in core
retribution.
now, right? He took he's the usurper.
Yeah. Dunaway is on core now. He used to have a Mario themed outfit, and when I put him on core, I switched the color scheme to be Wario, and it's my favorite joke that I've done. Like it's my own little thing that just I like, is that Dunaway now dresses like Wario, now that he's a bad guy, and I love it. So,
how did you? I'm looking at the video. How did you get male female crossover match going here? I didn't think that was possible.
You cannot have men fight women in the game. That is a strict rule. In fact, if that ever happens, it is a disqualification. But you can do mixed gender tag matches, and basically the rules for this sort of match is, if, say, you know, in this case it's Monica versus Martha, if one of them tags and Tom comes in, then John would have to come in too.
Okay.
So it is always going to be women fighting women, men fighting men. That separation is still always going to be there in the game, but you can technically have an intergender match like that.
Okay, that's cool though. I didn't even know it was possible. This is rad.
It's good that you can get that far. It is a little frustrating. I still don't like that the game doesn't give you the freedom to just go ahead and do it. I really wanted to tell a story where Kim is the person who challenged Scott for the title. Like I genuinely am sad that Kim couldn't come in and just beat up Scott.
Yeah.
But you know, it probably also works best because in my head that's how it goes. But if the AI then turns around, it probably doesn't look great to have Scott like hitting his wife with a chair or something. That probably isn't a great.
Probably visual. Not great. Not a good look.
I don't know, but I just, you know, I do want the freedom there. So, you know. But it continues to be fun. It continues to be a thing I wish I did more than once a week, but I continue to have the restraint that I think is important and just let it be its own weekly thing and having a blast doing it.
Well, as a reminder, Craftless Rogue on both YouTube and Twitch is where you can catch that action each and every week. Most Wednesdays is when that goes up live or happens live. Awesome. You also installed Armored Core 6. I hovered over that buy button for about a half an hour today. I'm waiting for someone I like or know or trust to tell me what they think, but you haven't played it, so that won't be you today. It may still be you that tells me one way or the other. But
I was hoping I'd get a little time before Core. I wanted to talk about Armored Core 6. I did a pre-install. I did a pre-order, which I don't recommend doing, but I did it, so you didn't have to in theory. And I sat there and I was like, all right, it's going to launch before Core. And it hit time. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get a couple minutes in. It's not going to be much, but at least I can say I played it. And then it had to do the unpackaging from a preload. And that took all the way up until showtime. So I've not played it. I will be checking in next week.
It's a weird time of day to launch the game. It's just like in the middle of the afternoon, you know? I don't get that exactly. But people... are raving about it. Reviews are really strong for the most part. Some are saying the difficulty spikes are too much. In fact, the East Bay Times says if players can scale difficulty walls, Armored Core 6 turns into a masterpiece. So, John, pressure's on.
Well, if you have the Martha music queued up,
I do.
This isn't going to be our dear Martha for today, but I did want to share with you one of the first reviews. I was going to try and grab the very first review that came in. I probably could have figured out what it was, but this was like first or second. This was very early review, and I just thought I would share what someone who at the time of writing it had 0.1 hour of game time. I thought I'd share their review.
All right, here we go. Enjoy.
My dearest Martha, only bought this game because it was advertised to have been made by the Elden Ring developers. The moment I saw mechas, I just quit immediately. There is no way it's going to be even half as good as ER, especially without Miyazaki at the helm. Going back to Baldur's Gate 3, and then I'll have Starfield to feast on. Yours in this life and the next, Mika.
Did he? Wait a minute. I got questions for this Mika person. What did you think you were getting? Do you not look at anything but, oh, this is made by From, therefore I'm getting it sight unseen, no idea what it is? Come on now. Why? That's a bad way to buy things.
It's a troll. It's gotta be a troll.
It might be a troll. That's a good point. But, I don't know. Troll or not.
You know, at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, this game just came out. It's got like 805 reviews. So let me reiterate what I said last week and continue to stand by, just in case anybody missed the message. Don't trust user reviews. 805 people have not finished or played enough of this game to trust their opinion on it.
Yeah. Most of these, there's a couple that are like, you know, they were given a key weeks ahead and they've got like 50 hours in the game. But there are some, most of them in there are like 0.3 hours played, which is 3% or something of an hour. Don't trust these. Read them if you want, but don't trust them. You know, we're not saying you should do anything. I'm just saying at the end of all that, we had a lot of debate in the Discord, like some heated debate about user reviews. I think we can all agree, though, it's not the most trustworthy source of information, period. That's it. That's the end of it. Because you're not going to stop it. What'd you say earlier? You can't stop the ocean or something. What'd you say?
I don't remember.
Something about
I say a lot of things. I don't put a lot of weight on my own words.
You said something like the ocean. You can't keep the ocean back.
You can't fight the tide. I think I probably meant you can't stop the river, and then thought, oh, beavers do it all the time, and then switched it to the ocean, and then it didn't make sense. So I don't know. It's probably best we don't.
I know what you meant, and I know there's a better way of saying it, but. But if any of you are hearing this and you still hold some sort of candle to what a user says that you don't know or trust or have never heard from before, maybe don't do that. If I were you, do what you want. You be you. Yeah. But that's just some advice. Free.
Steam lets you refund if you absolutely can't wait for a review that you trust. Play the game for a little bit, make up your own mind, and return it if you don't like it.
Does that review say return it? Because they do put a red text on there.
Of course they didn't return it.
Because he's a troll. That's what's going on.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough. Armored Core 4, or 6, rather. Out now. Bo, anything besides the Baldur's Gate for you? Is that it for you?
Yeah, no, that's it.
You guys are monogamous, aren't you? You're like really hardcore monogamous, other than, John doing his wrestling thing, but that's just, that's content. That's a thing. That's different.
Like, if I load up a different game when I'm really into something, I'm bored. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? So
I'm that way with most games, but like Inkbound was almost like a nice little break of like, oh, I don't have to think about any hard decisions for a while.
I did load up Quake 2 for 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, dude. Was I right? That's a really good version of that. It's pretty good.
The game's was a bit dated. So
yeah,
and I just think it's not fair to the game, even though it's really old and no one cares. But I was like, no, I just want to play Baldur's Gate. I thought I wanted to try something different.
Yeah,
it was like, and I didn't have, I got the shotgun. It was challenging, but I'm like, I was just thinking about Lizelle the whole time, and I was like, never mind, I gotta get.
There's nothing wrong with that. So, I think it's great that you're committed.
I think part of it too is we'll see how things change, because right now I am working full time.
Yeah.
So I usually have a lot of built up Baldur's Gate energy that I need released.
Yeah, blue Baldurs.
Yeah, I got
blue Baldurs.
Exactly. So I think like maybe, with a different routine where I have a little more playtime and can be a little more flexible, I might be able to multitask better. Considering you're all funding me to be full-time video game player. For some part. So I think that context changes things for me.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I get when the kid is napping, and if I'm sacrificing sleep to stay up after everybody goes to bed, and even then it's usually picking between, okay, like I have to have that conversation with my wife. I'm like, look, I love you, but I also love Baldur's Gate. And you might feel like I'm picking one over the other, but just know that Baldur's Gate isn't forever.
Yeah.
It's for a long
I'm
time.
picturing
It's a
your
long
conversation with her from her point of view as in Baldur's Gate 3 dialogue options.
Yeah, exactly. Roll the persuasion dice, John. See if you're gonna get in trouble for this. But it's true. I have very limited time compared to what I'm used to. So when it gets to like, hey, this is the time you get to game, I need to pick what I want to play, not some sense of obligation. Gotta play this.
Yeah.
I wish I had that, but I don't. So if I want to play Baldur's Gate, that's what I'm playing when the baby's asleep. Like,
Yeah.
it's that simple.
You just want to play what you're itching for, and right now everybody's itching for that game. I get it.
Yeah.
But
It's
I had
also why there's been no new wrestlers in Frog Wrestling for the past couple weeks.
Yeah, they take time, it turns out, to make that stuff.
Yeah. So I haven't been making anybody new, and it's like, oh, we got a big roster right now. We don't need anybody new popping up just yet.
I'm glad you brought that up because we have a voicemail today when we get to it that is about this very thing.
Ooh,
Yeah,
interesting.
about you creating characters in that game. But it's I don't give it away. We'll get to it. In fact, we're going to take a break now. When we come back from this break, we'll do a real Dear Martha, Dill Martha.
Dill Martha.
Dill Martha. She's dill flavored, and that's all I'll say about that. After that, we got some other news to round things out, including a little bit of what we saw at the Gamescom opener. Although there's not a lot of new things. It was mostly like stuff we already knew about.
Oh yeah, we do want to, but I wasn't. I'm sad. I really wanted to be there with you guys. You guys sound like you had a really great time.
It was fun. I knew it was going to be, when I reached out to you, I knew it was going to be hard because you were working. But when you are not there anymore, all of these events will get covered somehow.
It'll be all of us.
Yeah,
It'll
all
be
the
great.
time.
We'll be doing it more often. We're gonna get you to finish Elden Ring.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yep.
I think it is definitely the one we've talked over where we didn't talk about what was happening the most.
I had so many jokes. I had so many jokes. I was watching the video.
But we spent a lot of time talking about times we had to pee and whether Blade Runner is overhyped as a movie. There's a lot of other discussions
Why
happening.
did Phil Spencer win an award? What the hell was that?
Because Microsoft has money.
Yeah, they have money, but also they are actually really good at the whole green initiative stuff. They're better than anyone else.
Seemed weird. Also, Phil didn't wear a Heroes of the Storm shirt. So
No.
He doesn't confirmed non-listener Phil.
Yeah.
Confirmed Core is at war with Phil Spencer.
Yeah, Cora.
You've planted your flag, Phil.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Phil. I was hoping for another Hexen shirt, but that ain't gonna happen, I don't think.
He wore an Xbox shirt.
I'm not holding my breath.
Well, a leafy Xbox shirt.
Yeah, leafy. It's because they're in Germany. Things are weird over there, all right? Germans are weird.
That's because they're in
That's all I'm saying. They're all weird. Our conversation about, okay, you will stop clapping now? I mean, that was cracking me up so bad. That was the best part of the night for me. We were making fun of the German lady. No offense, Germans, but look, you have a reputation.
Making fun of Germans was the best part.
Yeah.
No offense,
No offense,
Germany.
though. No offense. All right, we're going to take an actual break now. When we come back, all those things I mentioned, stay tuned.
That'd be cool.
I'd watch that shit. Are you kidding?
Frigier.
Fridgerton.
You can remove that from the frigier if you're ready to eat.
The hot new Netflix series, Fridgerton, Season 2. All right, we are returning here, I think. Let's see. Yep. All right, we're back, everybody. Thank you for hanging out, and we're going to continue on down this path, and that path includes a visit to Dear Martha. Again, we're getting like a twofer today. This is fantastic. John, any special arrangement or anything you need for this?
Well, today we are going to be playing the Dear Martha game show once again, and you guys have done so well recently that I have decided to make today's the hardest one yet. This one's going to be a true challenge, a true test of your ability to discern reviews based on Steam reviews, as a reminder. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to read a Dear Martha review. I am going to then give you, in this case, 10 possible games that this review was written for.
Wow.
And I will tell you, part of what makes this one hard, this review might have been written for every single one of these, but I picked it specifically from one of these games.
Wow.
And it's your job to tell me which one.
Okay, that's a lot. 10's a lot.
10's a lot.
Let's find out where we land here.
My dearest Martha, game of the year, without a doubt. Yours in this life and the next, Carvo.
Wow.
So
You
give us a
to go
ton.
on here.
that's the full review. There you go. Now I will say I made it easier on you. I only picked games that came out or officially launched this year.
Oh,
so the good news is we're not doing other years. You only have to worry about this year's video games for that review to apply. So here are your options. There's 10 of them, so try and keep track.
Okay.
Number 1, Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Okay.
Number
That was
2,
this year?
Yep.
Baldur's Gate 3. Number 3, Remnant 2 from the Ashes. Number 4, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. Number 5, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Number 6, Dead Space Remake. Number 7, Octopath Traveler 2. Number 8, Dave the Diver. Number 9, The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Or number 10, Halls of Torment.
Halls of Torment. Okay. I have played every one of these except for Armored Core, Remnant, and that's it. I played Murder of Sonic. Everything else I played a good deal of. Bo, do you have any?
The review was Game of the Year.
Game
Without
of the
a doubt.
year. Yeah. And a lot of these will
Without
be
a
on
doubt.
that list, I think, at the end of the year, for
I mean,
people.
it's just Baldur's Gate 3. That's the correct answer, even if it's not going to be the correct answer.
Yeah. Well, that's
So,
why I don't think
Baldur's
it's
Gate
it, because
3
there's
for
no
me.
way John will go that easy, right? It's not going to be.
It's a protest answer. Sometimes you get
Bo's
those.
protesting. He's like, I don't care that it might not be right. I'm going with it because I think it's right.
Yeah. I'll do Murder of Sonic, the Sonic murder thing,
Oh, interesting.
because
So you're almost going ironic. You
He's
think
going
I'm
meta.
really trying to trick you.
I do
Yeah.
feel like I'm being tricked. Because any of these could say this. In fact, I think I've read similar things on Octopath Traveler's page, and I probably saw something like this on Jedi Survivor's page. And I mean, these are all
Can I do an insight check on John?
Sure.
sure.
Hold on. Let me
So
me go
you set your DC. I'll tell you what I roll. I've got a D20 in my hand. Do I get advantage or disadvantage, or just regular?
No, just a regular roll. Just give me a standard roll.
Okay,
I've got my
and-
DC.
Are you calculating my modifier, or do I decide what my modifier is?
How good do you think you are at reading people?
I think I'm like insightful. I'd put myself at an expertise level, but I'm only level like 1 or something. I'm not.
Okay,
really
I'll give you a
sure.
+1. I'll give you +1.
All right.
+1.
5. Well, 4 plus 1 is 5.
Oh,
five.
You rolled a 5.
five.
A 5 total?
rolled a
Jeez. All right.
John seems very confident that one of these games at least had this review.
All
Scott,
right.
do you want to try
I'm
rolling?
going to... yeah, you know what? I will do it.
Got
I
a
have a
D20
D20 right
Okay.
here. Hold
Insight check for Scott. What's his modifier, John? Be truthful.
I'll
now.
give him a +1 as well.
right.
Do you want to give him a guidance roll? Give him a
I think I'm
Oh,
really
like cast
insightful.
guidance. Okay, I put my
Yeah,
two
you-
fingers up like this, and I gently
Bo's
touch
gonna
Scott's bum.
give you guidance. So
Okay, so that's
roll
a
a
D4.
D20 and a D4.
D20 and D4. Okay. So my D20 is a 16. So 17 with the 1 and a D4. 21 total. Pretty good roll.
Okay. Looking at John, you feel no sense of intended treachery with this, dearest Martha.
That's perfect, by the way. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to go, it's the one with the D in front. Like, you know what I mean? Like you did that's DM quality business that you just did. That's really
Can we
great.
get you to DM some D&D, Scott?
Oh, I'll never be good at it. Are you kidding? I'd be embarrassed the whole time.
That's fine. That is not a deal breaker by any stretch.
I don't know how seriously I could take it. I don't know. Maybe I could do it.
Just a one-time thing. Anyways,
I'm
you
going to
change your
go
answer
with
based on that insight?
yeah. If he's not going to be ironic, then I will change my answer to be Dave the Diver, because I don't think that's ironic. That game's excellent, and I could see people saying, "Look, all your fancy AAAs, f off. This game was the best game of the year." So that's why I'm picking that.
Okay, so you're locking in Dave the Diver.
Yeah.
Bo, protest answer,
Yeah,
Baldur's Gate.
Doesn't matter. I'll take whatever consequences arise from this choice.
All right,
Team wipe.
we have a victory.
Oh, really?
Out of 10 possible answers,
Yeah.
Bo Schwartz has guessed it with Baldur's Gate.
What? Too easy. Dang
Too
it.
easy. Why'd you get it wrong twice?
Why'd you get it wrong
And with a
twice?
successful insight check.
No, you're right. It's just, you know what's throwing me here is just how, I mean, to me, it's so obvious that it's BG3 that it couldn't be, but.
I mean, the thought crossed my mind too, especially when you said it. But that's why I'm like, I'm just gonna sync with my answer no matter what. Like, it's just
Hide in plain sight. That was the goal. You know, there we go.
Yeah, nicely
Sweet.
done. Well done, Bo. And it's also correct, I think. If I was actually going to say, if I was to look at this list and I had played most of these, of course it is.
I think if BG3 doesn't get it, a number of React YouTube videos decrying the games industry is going to be, people are going to make a lot of money if they don't choose. Actually, I shouldn't say that. They shouldn't give them any ideas. They don't pick Baldur's Gate 3. The number of it's all going to be the rest of the video game industry's jealous, and that's why they didn't give Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year.
I got
in general, my goal with this, Dearest Martha, was just to shine a light because this is just the stuff that's on Steam.
Yeah.
Just how good this year has been.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible.
Like, and Baldur's Gate is still yeah, but it's been a hell of a year.
Yeah, we're not even done. We got plenty more coming. You know? Although, did you guys hear oh no, that was a movie. Dune 2 got delayed today to 2024.
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna win Game of the Year now, Scott.
No, it's not gonna win Game of the Year now, and maybe ever, because it's not a game.
It's fine. I haven't seen Dune 1 yet.
Dune Part 2 got bumped because they don't have a deal with the strikers yet, and it's a protest move. The movie could be done. They're just putting it off.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah,
there's a few of these going on. I don't know what the others are, but that's a big one. That's a freaking prominent one. And you should watch Dune Part 1 because that's the deal. Oh, no, we said you'd watch Heat, and I'd watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's right.
If I watch Heat, you have to watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I think we should have that by next Thursday. That we should be done with that by next show.
By next Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, what's Heat on? Do I have to buy Heat? Because
No.
that might impact.
No, Heat is, well, do you have HBO Max? Or Max,
yes,
sorry, just Max.
I do.
Okay, if you have that, then
we can still call it HBO Max, just like we can still call Twitter Twitter. It's fine.
You're not wrong.
There's no police officer that's going to knock on your door and go, Elon Musk said it's X now. You can't call it that.
No.
Who gives a shit? It
It's a
can
good
be Twitter.
It's a good point.
It's
Plus, I
fine.
love that voice that you just did. That was amazing. Okay, Heat is actually not on Max anymore. It moved to
It's on Netflix,
Netflix. So Netflix, Plex, either of those, it's free. Well, not free if you have Netflix, but yeah, if you have Netflix, it's on there. So you watch Heat. I'll see Kiss, Bang Bang. I'll rent it. No problem doing that. It's not streaming anywhere, but I'll rent that shit and I will
Didn't
watch
I
it.
send you the DVD?
You might have. Did you?
I think I did.
Oh.
I think I sent you the DVD.
Well, then I
for
have
it.
that somewhere, and I have a way to play it, so I could do that.
So decide if look, let me say this. This is somebody who owns a lot of movies digitally that he owns physically because he's too effing lazy to put a DVD in. If you would prefer to rent it, I won't blame you. I will understand.
Right.
But if you don't want to spend the money, I do think I sent you the DVD.
I'll look around. I have a whole box of all the DVDs I've ever been sent, so if it's there, it's there. And I will watch this finally. So John loves this movie. I've never seen it. I love Heat. He's never seen it. Next Thursday, we come together like Voltron, and we see what we think. All
Scott or Bo, have you seen either of those movies?
Heat, yes. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, no.
Okay. And you love Heat, right? Everyone loves Heat. Nobody doesn't like Heat, right?
I love Heat.
Yeah. Heat is amazing. Heat holds the hell up. Heat has one of the best shootouts in film history. It's amazing. If you like heist movies at all,
I haven't seen it in a while, but it is up there with one of the good crimey movies.
Yeah. There are no Michael Mann movies that I don't like. I even like his attempt to do Miami Vice.
Wait. Why am I feel like I'm only just learning this now, Scott? John, you haven't seen Heat?
He hasn't seen Heat.
No.
I don't mean that in the like how haven't you seen it? It's just during the year it came out, it was a very big movie. It was kind of hard to. It's one of those harder.
How
to
old
avoid
was
movies,
I
guess.
when it came
It
out?
came
When
out in
did it come
'94. How old you were in '94?
10.
Yeah, it would have been out of your range probably.
10, maybe 9.
Is it really
what
a-
else came out in 94?
'94 was my daughter came out of my wife's womb. My oldest daughter.
Weird, thanks.
All right. Well, here's what I was watching in '94. I was watching The Lion King. I was one thinking that was.
Oh yeah,
really
Lion
good.
King. Forrest
I was
Gump.
watching Forrest Gump
Yep.
because my dad was in it.
Yep, Forrest Gump.
I was watching.
Wait a minute. Your dad was in Forrest Gump?
Yeah, my dad was in Forrest
What
Gump.
did he? What was he?
He's just a trucker in the background, but he did steal a bottle from the set of Forrest Gump, and we will never stop giving him shit for this because he had 2 soda bottles. He was an extra, walked out with soda bottles, and they had prop soda bottles for 7-Up and Dr. Pepper, which, if you've seen Forrest Gump, Dr. Pepper plays a role in a scene. Like it gets a focus for a scene. Yeah. My dad goes, nobody likes Dr. Pepper, and he took the 7-Up bottle from the set, and we still are like, Dad, come on, man. Also, why'd you take 7-Up?
That's also the opposite of truth. No one likes.
I much prefer Dr.
No
Pepper.
one likes Sprite. Everyone likes Dr. Pepper. He has it backwards. That's such a boomer take.
He messed it up. But anyway, yeah, he was a trucker at the truck stop. That's awesome. A lot of that was filmed around Flagstaff, Arizona. He runs right past the Monte Vista Hotel, which my grandfather used to own. So a lot of stuff I really like in that movie.
But you weren't watching Heat and Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption. These were all that year.
I mean, it was still watchable at 10, but I think it depends.
No,
I seen Aliens at 10.
Yeah.
I was watching True Lies. I watched that. Clear and Present Danger. I watched that. The Santa Claus. I watched that. Street Fighter. Watched that.
Hey, Bo, what year were you born? 79?
79, yeah.
Did you know you're the same age as Ashoka's actor? What's her? Rosario Dawson? You guys are the same
actually,
age?
I think that came up at one point again, but yeah, we're like age peers.
You're both 10 years younger than me, which is weird.
Yeah. She's great. They couldn't have picked someone better.
Oh, she's awesome. Oh my gosh, dude, she's great.
Like, she's doing such a good job with it.
I love her. I saw her in Dope. I finally watched Dope Sick from 2021 because I'd heard it was great, but I wasn't really in the mood to be depressed about the opioid epidemic and all that. But it's Michael Keaton is in it. She's in it. A bunch of other people I really like. And my gosh, that is such a great limited series. If you've got time for something extra, go to Hulu, watch Dope Sick. You'll learn a bunch of stuff, and some of the best acting you've seen in years is in that thing. It's so good. And Barry Levinson directed like most of it, which is another big deal. Anyway, moving on. Man, I talked a lot about movies today. I didn't expect that. But instead, now we're going to talk about this other thing, which is right here. Whoops. This is called Other News. Gamescom showed off some stuff. Most of it we knew. John and I did a live thing. If you didn't get that file, I feel bad for you. The YouTube video got blocked in some countries. So I don't have a lot of choice in that regard. They said on the website, the Gamescom website, that co-streams were fine. But that happens sometimes, and they still don't cover everything, and some music gets pulled, and it's just weird. So right now, some countries, my video's blocked of John and I watching that thing live. If you're a patron...
Somewhere someone's going, I live in some countries.
I don't know which nations are cut from the thing out of the 180 or so countries in this world, but the version, I did put a version up for patrons directly on Patreon, and so far that one's holding. So if you are a patron, then you've already got it. The audio version of it all is out there, and you could always just queue it up with the video and watch it that way. But anyway, we had a great time doing it. The only real complaint I have about the event, it's not a complaint, they told us this going into it, is that a lot of this would be stuff we already knew, just some additional things. Here's some more Mortal Kombat 1 things. Here's a few extra things about this other game or whatever. Not a lot of big announcements. And another stage bomb where some people got up and said stupid shit and made me want to punch the screen. So that happened. Here I am giving them more attention, John. We talked about this, and I'm still doing it. I don't know why I'm still doing it.
Just ignore him. Jeff Keighley says just ignore him. He's already killed that man. So
yeah, he's already murdered him. Shouldn't start rumors like this. I don't think he killed anyone. But those Germans, watch out. All right?
Look, sometimes buttons get pushed.
That's right.
Accidents happen.
Those people
Jeff
went
Keighley
to war.
doesn't know.
They went to war with the world twice and almost won. One of them, anyway.
I love that Scott's using this as this is why I'm allowed to make fun of Germany, okay?
That's why. Yeah, no, and when you say, like when someone says, well, I'm half black, I can use the N-word or whatever. You always look at that and go, no, you're not. But here's me going, Germany went to war with the world twice, so therefore I can make fun of Germans. It doesn't make sense.
I think just to make sure we get this right, I think if you're half black, you can.
Can you? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not doing. I don't care how much black I'm not doing.
I am too white to make a judgment on this. I'll just abstain and trust what anybody tells me. It doesn't impact me in any way.
Yeah. Probably even black people will be like, don't use that word. If that's just like, that's rappers and thugs and stuff. But yes, certainly you want to avoid as a white person.
My wife has 1/16 Native African American blood. Can she get up on a microphone and drop the big N-bomb? She can't, can she?
No. But I think
I love how John's whole thing. There's no like weird middle ground that I'm over here sounding like I'm looking for middle ground, but John's just like, no, 1/2, no. How about 90%? No, just don't do it. It's good advice. I'll take it. Bo, sorry.
I feel like a good policy is if you know, think about it, and if you don't know, the answer's no.
Yeah. Yep. Did you know that though her line, this 1/16
what was the connection though?
She has so here's the crazy connection for her. She's 1/16 black, and it comes through the line of the slave that Thomas Jefferson fell for, had sex, made a baby, and then it's from that line.
Oh, she's related to Scott. She's related to Thomas.
Yes,
Jefferson.
she has somewhere generations back a connection to Jefferson and this slave that he
R-worded.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. So I think he probably did hard R. I don't know.
Even if it was consensual, it's still R because when you have power over someone.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't want to minimize that at all because it was bad.
We're fraught. Even if it, doesn't. We don't have to actually. Doesn't have to be violent.
But she's also got percentages of French, Cajun. I guess French Cajun. Choctaw Indian, and what was the other one? Or Choctaw Nation, and then there's one other thing. And then her whiteness.
Irish, for sure. It's Irish. If you Irish, you get everywhere.
Maybe she got the Probably. French. The French is real thick on her side, though. I don't know.
I have an 1/8 of Irish.
Oh, I'll have an 1/8 of Irish, please, and some water.
That's the part I'm the happiest about. I think Ireland's cool. I'm like, I'm a little bit Irish.
Ireland is cool. I'm a big
tiny
fan.
Amount of Irish, eh?
I'm a big fan of Ireland. You know what Ireland never did? They never went to war with the world twice.
No, they went to war with themselves like 5 billion.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of perpetually, as a matter of fact.
It's not a happy land full of leprechauns. It's full of
there are
religious wars.
We have German listeners. They know I'm kidding. I have German friends. I'm totally kidding.
You know, Scott, there's a really great line in The Incredibles too. I know because I see this movie a lot because my son likes it, and that's said by Mike Ehrmantraut, of all people, when he says, sometimes if you want to get out of the hole, you got to stop digging.
I'm having fun, but what if the digging's fun?
Well, what if digging's fun?
I mean, I'm sure the digging's fun, but Scott definitely seems like someone who wants out of a hole.
Yeah, I don't want to be in this hole.
He's just got to put that shovel down, man.
Get me out of this hole.
Giving him new shovels and not a hand, I guess.
Sure.
Okay, sorry.
Mike Ehrmantraut's good. I like hearing him say things, so I'm actually happy that was
Ehrmantraut sounds like, I think he might be German.
Yeah, it does sound like German, doesn't it? Ehrmantraut. Yeah, I mean, it's a fake character because his real name.
Oh yeah, that's not his real name. What's his real name?
No, his real name's
Jonathan Banks.
Oh, that's it.
Came
Banks.
to me too late. I had to talk about him like he's a fictional character.
Yeah, Banks. 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 That sounds right.
German last name.
Yeah, that sounds right. All right, let's get to this news. Sorry, Gamescom. They showed off a bunch of things. There's not really much to add. I don't know if anything jumped out at anyone. I think for me, I don't know. MK1's looking great.
It was there wasn't anything too mind blowing. I think right, like
No.
good stuff, but nothing like whoa shit. You know,
Yeah.
It reminded me how excited I am for the Cyberpunk expansion. That
Yeah.
like that's a known quantity, but that was my takeaway from that presentation was, oh yeah, I'm really excited for
Yeah.
the Cyberpunk.
You know what, too? What's good?
That I didn't find what they showed too hype though. Even though I'm excited.
Oh,
for
it wasn't at all.
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to say. It was weird that presentation for that had no Idris Elba, had no story point stuff. It didn't talk about any of that. All it talked about was revamp of systems, the 2.0 stuff, the cops getting revamped, how the open world stuff gets changed, new cars. Like it felt more like a tech update. It was weird.
It didn't build hype when I watched it. I was like, okay, yeah. Like John said, it's a known quantity. So,
Yeah.
the one thing that I found interesting was Crimson Desert.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about this. You've told me that they were making a single player game before, and I did not.
They announced this a long time.
I was
ago.
not putting two and two together here. So that's what this is. It's set in that world, but we're getting a single player epic.
I think what it really is, it's like they're taking all their Black Desert tech and making an open world single player game because everything like the goblins look like the goblins from Black Desert. It's called Crimson Desert, so even the title kind of lifts from their titling. And it has like the horse, like horses are a big deal in Black Desert, and of course they showed a lot of horse related business. But the trailer was really interesting because it sort of scaled up in activities. Like it just started off with him like petting dogs and playing flute.
Yeah.
And then he's climbing walls. You're like, this is Assassin's Creed. He's climbing walls and he's riding horses. And then he goes through magic portals and is like careening through the air. And it's really hard to tell if I should be excited for the game or not. Like it still didn't hit that mark like their Black Desert trailers where they show cool weapon abilities. And you're like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The fighting looked neat though, but like Black Desert's really fun, and I could see them making a really fun single player game.
I just hope it's a single player game I can buy and not have a bunch of bullshit in it because Black Desert is notorious.
I mean, that's
bullshit.
what I'm expecting, but I mean, maybe there's going to be DLC and shit, but I don't think it's going to be to the level of Black Desert.
Yeah.
I think if anything, they're going to look at it as like, here, play a single player game, and if you like that, there's more adventures to be had in Black Desert, but I don't know.
Oh, and that Chinese Monkey King game, Wukong, that looked rad. I mean, it looks like a Souls-like, and maybe they all look the same to people, but I thought the graphics in that looked crazy.
Yeah, it looks really, really good.
Yeah. But again, a game we knew about. We just, we got a little bit more. So yeah, that was it. It was fine. It was a good presentation. I didn't pay much attention to, the other stuff. There's some weird things happening simultaneously. Samsung is releasing a new monitor that is 52 inches wide, ultra wide format, curved.
Whoa.
52 inches. Will do. I forgot all the specs, but it'll do 240 hertz. It'll do all the bells and whistles. This thing's $2,500, and that may sound like a lot to people. It's really not for the specs. Like
it is a TV, I suppose. So I mean,
but it's meant for gamers and desktops, and it is beautiful. I forgot the name.
2 inches.
Yeah, you should see it, Bo. Sexy as hell, this thing. And it does true P&P. So instead of you can do virtual picture-in-picture on a lot. My monitor here will do that, but this thing will let you plug like a PlayStation 5 into this monitor, and on however you want to aspect ratio it, half of the monitor could be over here playing PC games, and the other half playing PlayStation 5 games natively on this one display. Oh, and it'll do 70-something. It's like 8K. It's a monster. I don't even know if your video card will drive it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think probably that's if it's 8K, you're probably you're gonna need a high end video card, and even then, you may not actually achieve 240 FPS in a lot of games.
Really sexy.
I think there's a certain point. I used to have my PC plugged into my 50-inch TV, and I used to have it like right in front of me, and that's like fun for some tasks, but it does get when you're kind of trying to look around. Like if I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, I'd have to look here and here and here to figure everything out. There is a point where it can be too much if you're not couch gaming on a monitor that big, like it's kind of insane.
I did the same thing for a while, and I would miss out on UI cues because they're happening in the periphery that I'm not seeing as much as I would.
It works good for low UI shooter stuff. Then you really feel immersed in it. But
Yeah.
apart from that, it can be not always the best.
Yeah. Every once in a while, though, I'm tempted. It's like I have an extra. It's only 1080p though. I don't think I want just that. But you do that all the time. You game in 1080p all the time, right?
Yeah, I game in 1080p for the frame rate trade-off.
Mm.
So I get good performance at 166 frames.
Yeah.
But I think at some point I got to make the switch. I just need to know, like, does the fidelity really add a lot? You know, like how much does it add?
Yeah.
Really?
It's a great question.
But I don't know. You guys can tell me. Like, you guys definitely like your upgrades.
My 1440p monitor is great. I have no problems, and I run at 144K. Or that's my refresh rate on that. John, what are you playing on it right now?
Yeah, that's the same for me, and it's noticeable. Like I had for PC capture, I had a capture card that couldn't do 4K. And so a lot of times when it was plugged in, everything would kind of be getting downscaled to 1080p anyway. And so for certain games, like I played most of Elden Ring, and when I was streaming it, I'd have it plugged in that way. But then I unplugged it and it would go up to 4K, and it was a noticeable like, oh my gosh, why does this game look so much better? This is really impressive. And it's kind of subtle. It's not like I remember when you got the higher refresh rate, you were like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't been experiencing games for so long." That I think the 4K boost is more subtle, but definitely noticeable. And then once you get used to it, it's extremely hard to walk it back. You will like you don't immediately see it and go, "Oh, this is the most amazing thing ever." But if you ever jump back and forth between the two, like I was, you very quickly get that impact of like, oh, this looks really, really good in 4K and not that great in 1080p.
Yeah, definitely a difference for me as well. So I don't know. It's an interesting trade-off. Performance matters as a reason why like pro shooter gamers who are like competing, they only do 1080p. They don't have any bells and whistles running. They often take down other settings, even though their cards are plenty capable. It's just you're just trading fidelity for speed.
Yeah, I think you want to go to 120. I think over 120 is diminishing returns, but for competitive, you want to be at 120. You get more frames, more reaction window.
And 120 is really like I used to think that I'll never need more than 6. We've talked about this, but I'll never need more than 60. And then you see 120, and you're like, no, I want to be here now.
It just is so long as you're getting the performance, like that's what I mean. If like Baldur's Gate 3, now that I'm getting low frame rates after running, then you lose the magic of the frame rate thing to begin with. So
yeah,
for sure.
It has to be like esports games are designed to run pretty efficiently to begin with. I think if you're playing the latest gen games, there's not that much benefit. Also, I'm only on a 3060 in a way, like it's not a powerhouse card. So
top of the line.
Going to 1440, I would definitely just be probably playing a lot of my games at 60 frames anyways.
Fair point. Check this out. First Run is a new Epic thing. So Epic's got this new plan to make their store awesome, I guess. I don't know. Epic First Run now offers developers 6 months of 100% revenue share for Epic Games Store exclusivity. My guess is this means that their 6-month exclusives or year exclusives they had currently lined up didn't pan out for those devs very well. And that newer devs are like, yeah, I think we'll just release on Steam simultaneously. This is not really worth it. So this is their way of saying, well, what if we gave you all the money for the first 6 months if you'll give us exclusivity for however long that window is? Sure, fine, whatever, go for it. But that to me is actually a sign that things aren't great over there. Things are probably fine over there, but they're not like, it didn't turn the world on its head and destroy Steam the way I think they had hoped. So
it just feels like they're trying to buy their way into something they can't actually do.
Yeah.
Which is if they like, I'm not saying it's impossible to be a Steam competitor, but I mean, Steam didn't have to do crazy offers for people to want it to be on the store. They need to create a store that people want to be on.
Mm-hmm. To me, it's like, and
they don't got to do these things.
Could Twitch really be unseated by something like what was it? What's the one? The weird new one? The new streaming service.
Oh, Kick.
Like everybody's like, Kick's gonna take them over. No, they're not. Like there's a size problem here. There's a a little bit too big to fail problem here. It's not a thing. I don't like that phrase, but I think it may work here. Like Steam's just too freaking big. So keep trying, I guess, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. A lot of these companies, you see them do their little exclusive run like Hades did over there, and they made more money in the first few minutes of being available on Steam than they did the entire run on Epic. So at some point, there is diminishing returns by being exclusive there, and I don't know that 100% revenue will fix it. Maybe,
Yeah,
but probably not.
but I just think like there could be, even though it's too big to fail. I think it's possible. It's a long-term thing, but it is, eventually other MMOs that World of Warcraft have come out and have sustained themselves as viable alternatives, if not doing better than World of Warcraft. I think, we can look at ESO, we can look at Final Fantasy 16 or 14. Sorry.
Feels like 14 more. Doesn't it feel like 14 at some point? Not that they're lapping them, but I think at some point they did have better numbers.
I mean, it feels like you could say they pulled ahead at certain points.
Yeah.
It feels more like a neck and neck race. I mean, when you see a lot of the bios of development team Twitter for WoW playing they're tweeting about Final Fantasy 14, and not that they wouldn't have a reason not to play it, but it's just like an acknowledgement that this is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think you can do that with a storefront. I just don't. I think whatever Tim's smoking, it's not the right. He's smoking indica, not sativa.
Some of that Tim Sweeney Kush, yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I sort of sometimes he says things that I'm like, oh, I understand. I think that's great. Like he wants to create competition, he wants to be part of it. But I'm like, Epic has their fingers. I think when you get a lot of money, then it's like we got to keep earning revenue, so we got to put our fingers in tons of different pies. And it's fine if they want to be a storefront because they have the user base from Fortnite. Like they have a good reason to do it. But it feels like we're doing it because we'd be fools not to do it, and not let's do it and be passionate about doing it, which is where Steam feels like that's why people like it. It feels like a good place to call home because the people who run it love running it so much they forget to make games.
Yeah,
because they were a games company.
Yeah,
I feel Steam. Everything else seems like a hobby. Like they make a console, but whatever. They're making Steam Deck right now. Who knows if we'll ever get another one? Who knows if they'll ever make another VR headset? But you can always be guaranteed that Steam will be working on their store. Yeah. And Epic, the store seems like 10th rung. Like Epic's like making movies, Epic's making video games, Epic's designing an engine.
Yeah.
Who give it's a feather in their cap, and that's what it feels like being on their store. And I just think for whatever reason, Tim talks a good talk, but he has not put his money where his mouth is, because you just don't buy your way into prestige, which is what Kick is doing. Yeah. And now what Epic is to me. So
that's what
they've had plenty of time to make that store good.
I agree.
Too.
Yep.
I agree. The days of saying like, oh, but it's a new store, like that's past. Like I was somewhat, Bo has always kind of been on the don't buy your way into exclusivity. I was a little more forgiving of it as a tactic, but I was also forgiving it on the grounds of, while you're doing it, also please make the store better. I don't like using the Epic Store. Yeah. It's not fun. It is hard for me. I accidentally launch games. I have trouble sorting it. I have trouble finding the games I put on there. Like, it's not a great platform for the games, and you've had plenty of time to figure that out.
They've had some improvements over time, but very few. You're totally right. Like, it doesn't, like when they finally let me put more than just one thing in a basket at once to buy. Because for a while there, you couldn't. You'd buy them one game. You couldn't go, well, I want to put these 3 things that are on sale in my basket. There was no basket. It was just buy a thing and then go buy another thing and do the whole process each time, which is already insane that launched with that. But that's just a recent development-ish that I can now do that. And it's just too slow. It's like they don't give a crap. Part of it is maybe, their own. They got Tencent owns a ton of them. They got other investors that own a ton. There's a lot of public aspects to it in different countries. Whereas Steam and Valve are still a sole proprietorship. They don't have to tell, well, not technically proprietorship, but they're a company owned by themselves. There is no shareholders. There's no public offering. There's no stock. And
They could weather a storm probably of a few months of not making money, for example, and it'd be stable.
Yeah, they could.
Like,
and they don't have to tell us whether they did or didn't. They
Yeah.
can just have their down month and then have a really great month after. It's nobody's business but theirs, because they don't have to report any of it. I don't know. It's interesting. The argument for not selling out to public stock is always laced with all sorts of complexities, but I kind of think Valve rather did the right thing.
Yeah, they've done the right thing, and of course they're going to take a lot of licks because, of course, this is the Baldur's Gate. Larian's pretty much kind of the same deal.
Mm-hmm.
Not a publicly traded company, and that discourse is about the differences between the two, about risk taking, and about what is capable. There's so much sea change that happens in a corporation based on the whims of the shareholders that it's impossible to maintain. It's impossible to. It's like there's a lot more instability. And sea change within the organization.
And Larian didn't give us receipts for this, but I did think it was interesting. They responded to this concept that everybody thought they were flushed with money from Wizards to make this game. And they said, no, that's not accurate. We made money on Original Sin 1 and 2, and we were smart with our money, and we funded this game. We didn't get a bunch
They
of
also paid
money.
WotC for the license. It was
they had to pay out, not in.
Yeah, so they're paying Steam for the pleasure of selling it on the Steam store. They're paying WotC for the pleasure of using the Baldur's Gate IP.
Yep.
And no doubt, WotC's telling them what to do. So, no doubt they have to send their product over for approvals for sure as part of owning the franchise and running it. So, of course that was the case. I don't know why I thought it would be different, but it makes sense because seeing some of the stuff just compare Baldur's Gate 3 to the typical recent D&D lineup of video games, like, I don't know, Dark Alliance, or...
Oh, man.
Like, WotC can't make a video game save their life, like, honestly. So some people pay for the privilege of doing it and honor the brand in a way that they could never do.
Yeah.
Very lucky for them. And like with that in mind, I'm like, I hope we go back to Divinity Original Sin 2. I'm very happy to have Baldur's Gate, and I like the D&D system in there, but I'm almost like, WotC's not. I'm not very happy with that company and what they've been doing to D&D and the moves they've been making.
Well, they've said their next thing is going to be a return to Original Sin, do 3 before they do anything else. People are begging them, like, remake 2 and 1 now, Baldur's Gate. Let's do the whole series. And they're like, no.
So funny to see that when they first got it, they're like, how can you make those games turn-based?
Mm-hmm. Now they want
turns
a whole
out
nother.
Well.
Yeah, it turns out really well.
They can do it pretty good.
Yeah, turns out extremely well. If anything, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were an attempt to move away and get people into a more real-time jive with D&D, right? Mm-hmm. And now we're all back to this other way, which was clearly the better way in the first place. I don't know, whatever. That ebbs and flows, real-time versus turn-based, but...
Just it's preference thing, but the 1-to-1, if you're trying to 1-to-1 D&D is a turn-based game.
Yeah.
In combat, at least, so,
I mean, my favorite thing about the game, probably outside of... I do like a lot of story and everything else, but I really like the adherence to the rules and how well I think they implement them.
If you want to know what's interesting, because you guys haven't played multiplayer, but if you have the same initiative score as other players, you do all your actions at the same time.
Oh, no way.
Oh, that's
cool.
kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, so it's not like Divinity Original Sin 2. It's like if all 4 of the teammates at the same initiative, it's whoever clicks on the enemy first that gets the kill and stuff. Like, it's kind of annoying sometimes if you're slower and you're like, oh, dang it, everyone's already done their moves.
Here's one controversial take that I don't know if other people share. I forgot to mention this during all our talk about it, but I installed Original Sin 2 just for fun because I just wanted to compare some stuff. It's easy to have a memory in your mind and go, how is this different? Obviously, the battle system and all that stuff's very different, but the camera I don't know if this is controversial. The camera in Divinity Original Sin 2 is way better than the Baldur's Gate 3 camera. I'm just going to say it. It's got more range of use. Yeah. I can do crazier zoom outs and then way more control. I don't know why they had to settle on something that was a little more limited.
You're playing the definitive edition, though. I sort of expect Larian will have a definitive edition.
I don't know. I definitely think Baldur's Gate is a vast improvement. I would hope that the Return to Divinity brings over some serious lessons learned. I strongly prefer Baldur's Gate, but I am not opposed to just playing any game that they want to put out. They want to put out something a completely different rule set. I'm fine. Like they have passion and they definitely care about what they do, and it shows. And I think it is hard to appreciate that too much at this point. Like it's so rare. It's absolutely so rare to see somebody as into their project as they are.
Well, speaking of that,
No Man's Sky maybe maybe the only other one that I know that seems to be chasing that.
That's a good point. These guys sure launched in better shape. But Baldur's Gate 3 is also coming to Xbox. People wondered if that was going to happen, and it will be this year. So that is happening. Series S will not have split screen for co-op, however, like couch co-op. However, the Series X, along with PlayStation 5's version, which comes out in a couple of weeks, those will have split screen. So,
yeah. So for those of you who might not know why the delay on the Xbox, I think it's worth noting. Microsoft has a rule that if a game cannot come out and have feature parity between Series S and Series X, they won't allow it on the platform. Larian and I think that's good. Larian on their side will not put out a game that they don't stand behind, and to get it to run on the S, they didn't feel good about how it was performing. They thought that they would be short selling their customers, and it would be another case of like, oh, this game doesn't run well, and they didn't want to put out a bad quality game. Which I also respect. So it's a weird case of two companies both making what I think is the right decision, but it's, unfortunately a net negative result of it wasn't coming out on Xbox.
all right.
And I think this concession, getting rid of split screen, feels like an acceptable concession. It's easy for me to say because it's not something I would care about. I think to people that were maybe looking forward to that, you can be the judge on if that's worth it or not. But to me, that doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world to get the game out, whereas it wouldn't have been out at all.
Yeah, I agree. It's the right concession, probably, if that's what...
I think that was probably what was proposed by Larian in the first place.
Yeah.
And then launch happened and they got a lot of hand in that situation.
Oh, I guarantee they got hand.
It was like we can't get it to run, sorry, I guess it's not going to be on Xbox.
Does anyone have more hand this very moment in gaming? Has anyone gained quicker hand than Larian Studios?
That's what I mean. That's why I think they're just like, because they got to strike while the pepper's hot. Does that make sense?
No, it's not a phrase.
Everybody strikes when the pepper's hot.
I love it.
So there's no point in having Baldur's Gate 3 on the Xbox a year from now. So it's like, okay, we'll break our rules.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a weird, feature. It seems like a good thing. Feature parity makes sense, but it's a weird hill to die on because it's not, at a certain point, if you buy the cheaper Xbox, you do have to expect that'll be reflected somewhere in the product offering.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you have to expect that. I mean, look, I there's a lot of controversy about that parity thing. And I understand it, why people are frustrated with it, but there also is a lot of fake outrage about a mode no one cared about right now, about couch co-op on the console version of the game. I think there's some people,
but I'd say a small percentage.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. There is always going to be somebody who is looking forward to that, but I don't think it's the deal. And there are people who are complaining about it who are either already playing it on their PC or have pre-orders for their PlayStation version. They don't actually need it or care. They just like to be in the controversy and the scrum.
I respect both. We have been on this show and talked about how annoying it can be to be on the PlayStation Store and not understand which version of the game we're getting because Sony is so sometimes unclear about, like, is this a PS5 version? Is this a PS4 upscaled? Is this a deluxe edition? Like, we've complained about minute things like that. I think wanting to set a broad standard of, if you get a game on Xbox, it will work on both platforms and it will have the same features. I respect that. I think that is a lofty goal. I do also kind of agree with Bo. At a certain point, if you were buying the cheap console, you have to expect you're going to get impacted somewhere. And so while I respect that it was a goal, I also think, this is the price of admission. And we're here. It's finally happened.
We're here, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. Moving on, Charles Martinet will no longer be the voice of Mario. Oh, no. What happened to Mario? They're parting ways. Is what they're doing.
That's fine. I mean, doesn't have to do it forever, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell though whether this is him saying this or if Nintendo's making a move. That's the one part that's a little unsure. But this is the sound it made after we heard about it. He's gone. He's out. Oh, you know what's better? This one. There you go. That's him.
He has been very iconic. Been doing this for a long time since Super Mario 64. And, as much as I joke that I want him to sound like he's actually from Brooklyn, he's an iconic voice of the character. And I think there is a lot of people that are wondering. They have said that they are going to make him a brand ambassador of some kind now going forward. Yeah. He's not the voice of Mario. Now he's a ambassador to the people of the Mushroom Kingdom. I don't know what that means, but
that sounds like a concession to me is what that sounds like. I could be wrong.
He has been very adamant that he loves voicing the Mario characters, that he wanted to do it forever. Whether or not this is Nintendo's call or his call, I think that I don't know. Yeah. I hope that he's happy. He seems like a sweet man.
Yeah, he seems like a very nice guy. Here he is. Oh no, that's not him. Hold on. How about this one?
It's a violin.
No, that's not it either. Where's Mario? No, that's not it. That's not it.
You are not to play Mario Kart?
That's not it either, damn it.
That's a good one.
Is it this one? Hold
on. Scott, how did she say Mario? I told you that it wasn't a Canadian thing.
No, it's
an American thing too.
But Jersey's closer to Canada than us, so I think there's a little crossover there. I could be wrong.
Did you just say Jersey is the same as Canada?
I'm saying it's just right up there. It's just up
saying
there.
It's an East Coast thing, basically.
It's near it.
That's what I said, and Scott was like, "It's Canada." Bo says it weird.
Well, how about this one?
It's me, Mario.
How about that? How about that guy?
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
We
John,
do
tell
have
us
a new
about
Mario, though.
Yeah, tell us who it is. Well, he won't be, but we love that he might be, or we'd love it if he would be. But what happened? Because I
saw this on Twitter, and this just made my day. Ben Starr, the voice of Clive from Final Fantasy 16. Threw his hat in the ring and put out a public audition to be the new voice of Mario, and put his audition up there. And honestly, he's the first one I saw do it, and I think we got it in one, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is absolutely it. So
yeah, it's pretty good.
You want to play a little bit of Clive's Ben Starr, his audition.
Quick warning, I'll give is that he swears a bunch, but we don't care. I'm just going to play it. But just know that for kids in the room or something. Here we go. Enjoy.
It's a
get ready.
A Mario.
Oh, I gotta turn it up.
You're looking for Mario? Because it's a Mia. Look who it is. Me. Mario. What the fuck are you looking at? It's a Mia, a Mario. Who am I? I'm a Mia, a Mario. A Mia is a Mia, and I am a Mario. Fuck you. It's me, Mario. Who am I? I'm a Mia, a Mario. Yeah, that's right. Mimi is a mama, Mimi Mario. Mario? Yeah, that's me. Go on then. Fucking leave. It's me, Mario. That's fucking right.
All right. Bring your kids back in the room, everybody. You're fine.
That's my favorite thing I saw on the internet this week.
That's pretty funny. You decided to do all F-bombs. I guess that's Final Fantasy 16 for you, basically.
Voice actors are having a moment this week. They're all doing this weird shit. Have you noticed that? Like, I half expect...
Well, they're not working. They're on strike. So they're actually out there. I mean, that's not entirely true. The Baldur's Gate VA community's having a moment.
Yeah, they really are having a moment. But I don't think those strikes affect video game performers. I'm pretty sure. And you may have some crossover, but Like I think.
Yeah, but they're gigs. Like if they do, they have like less gigs maybe in the hopper. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a joke. I don't really know.
Yeah.
No.
Well, he also Ben Starr has he's been busy this week. Not only has he been becoming the new Mario, he also got involved with Baldur's Gate 3 because Karlach has a stuffed teddy bear at camp named Clive.
Mm.
And so there was some fun back and forth between him and Larian Studios' Twitter account about the bear named Clive. And then he got into it with them, saying, they were threatening that Karlach would burn him more than Ifrit. And he got into it with them too. So it's been fun. It's been a fun week to follow voice actors on Twitter.
Let's raise Lou Albano from the grave and have him do it. He's your new Mario.
Yeah. Oh man, Lou Albano.
Yep, bring him back.
Mario.
He was pretty good. The Saints Row reboot is now on Steam. It's 67% off for its launch, so $19. I was very tempted
I'd check
to
it
pick
out
it up.
if they maybe put it for 100% off. Maybe I'd play it.
If they did it if I could get this game for 15. Like, I want to play this. I do, because I really like Volition.
Why?
Volition? Is that who the developed? I may have that wrong.
Yeah, why?
Because,
let me ask you, why do you want to play this?
Because I like big open world games, and I like Saints Row. And
okay, this is nothing like Saints Row.
And that's okay. If it's fun, I don't care if it's. If anything, Saints Row got too crazy in the end, and I actually want them to pull back a little. So I was kind of for that. A little bit, and that's what I hear about it. But they've done a bunch of work on it. They're apparently committed to making it better and better and better. I'm just a little tempted because at 19, maybe that's the time to buy it. I don't know. I'm not saying I will. I'm just saying.
I don't. I was gonna say I'd play it for $5. I don't think I would.
Oh, I'd do it for $5.
I'd probably buy it, but I don't think I'd play it.
I'd pay 15 or under. There you go. Your move. Volition, whoever it is. I forget who makes it. They want to say Volition, but I think that's wrong.
I have zero interest. I gave you free money. I told you all what the next Saints Row game would be, and it would have been brilliant, and you all ignored me.
You were often ignored by the devs.
Penny.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't ignore you like that.
It was a genius idea. Still is. It's the best idea I've ever had in my life.
Hardcore WoW servers launched today. Bo, any temptation to go poke your nose in there and see what's up?
I definitely want to. I'm busy, unfortunately. But I've had a lot of people message me. I'm busy with Baldur's Gate 3. Like, it's just...
Yeah. It's hard to want to go
like,
play WoW.
Like, I think 2 months ago, I'd have been like, please give it to me. I want it. This is the best thing I'm doing. Now it's kind of like... It's actually a little painful. So I don't know. I still would like to do some hardcore WoW stuff with the core community because it's an MMO. A lot of y'all who listen already have WoW accounts or would play. And maybe we get in there and like Zerg it as a community one of these days. So I'm hoping there are people interested in that. We get that organized once I'm done working. It's not, make like a day of it or something like that. See how far we get in a single day or something.
I wish these servers weren't classic WoW. I know it doesn't work unless it isn't. We've been through all that. I can't use old WoW.
I can't, with the games coming out right now, which we knew ahead of time. Like, thankfully, got my fill of Diablo, but I haven't had my fill of Baldur's Gate 3. I have Starfield, which I'm definitely going to be checking. Like I've liked Starfield. I've been this pro Starfield, looking forward to her.
Yeah.
For some time.
Yep.
So I'm going to be playing that. There's 100 other little games that I could be checking out, but just those major games, I'm just too excited for them. So
I get you.
Unfortunately,
and it's not going anywhere. You'll still have access to it, and they'll iron some shit out before you get in. It'll all be good to wait.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe if I didn't have anything to do, then I'd be like, let's try and race. Let's go. Let's try and maybe we won't get number one, but let's go as fast as we can. I like playing games with friends, and I know there'd be people out there. My Diablo experience with the teammates from the community I played was fun. I know there'd be 4 or 5 people out there who'd want to do, because they're not putting that weird limitation on dungeons, which I love. Like, I think it's probably just once per 24 hours or once per week, some sort of lockout system. But it's not going to be weird about it. Like, there's actually a good chance I can coordinate and run some dungeons and stuff like that and get some good multiplayer going. So
Sure.
yeah.
Well, when the job switch happens, I think things will open up. Now the most shocking news of the day. That's how you know it's shocking. Phil Spencer said in an interview that they bought ABK primarily for the mobile revenue.
Yeah, I saw this on Eurogamer, but I didn't have the link. But I
Shocking.
did read the article this week.
Shocking.
On
Shocking.
Eurogamer.
Absolutely
What?
shocking. I'm not shocked at all is what I'm trying to say. I'm being sarcastic. I think this is
okay.
This was always their play, but it's not that the other stuff isn't important. It is, but Call of Duty is a massive thing. But you know what's really massive is the money King makes. Like it's insane how much money they make, and I think he's being kind of what's the word? He's being very open about this because this is not something people like to brag about, but him admitting or basically saying, yeah, this whole thing is about that revenue. Everything else is gravy is kind of a bold thing to do. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's, well, I mean, considering there's a bit of a don't tap the aquarium aspect to this, because I think a lot of, when the purchase was announced, everyone was thinking about Activision sucking, and particularly with Blizzard, but even on the Activision side, there was all the allegations of SA, clean up the HR, like, the water cooler talk about the purchase, evangeloed them.
Neon Genesis Evangelo.
They evangelicized Microsoft in this transaction, and I'm like, I didn't really see a comment for Xbox. Doesn't mean it wasn't out there, but it didn't drift to my attention in all this time. So him saying that, I'm like, yeah, I mean that makes sense. I don't. Your Blizzard woes not a priority. Of course, they'll put them on stuff. It's not like they're going to stop making games or anything, but if you had a notion that they were there to rescue Blizzard or rescue Call of Duty or get rid of Bobby Kotick even, it sounded to me the way he described it in the article, it's like Microsoft has historically been very lame in the mobile space. They tried a phone, there's no more Windows Phone. They are particularly in gaming, but also just even outside of gaming, they're not really strong in the mobile space. And acquiring ABK gives them, like you said, King, a division within that large AAA corporation with some deep, deep roots into the mobile space. So,
yep. Same reason Activision bought them in the first place. I remember when they did that, and that was all about just the portfolio needed a mobile aspect to it because it represents billions. That's why the value is so high. Everyone's like, "Wow, I didn't know all that stuff was worth all that." Well, it isn't. Without the K and the ABK, you wouldn't be doing it.
It's the mobile, it's the revenue streams from mobile, it's the technology, the work processes, their knowledge, like the staff. They probably have some very good senior staff who've been working a long time in the mobile side. I imagine the mobile side is probably, you got your Activision products, you've got your Blizzard products, but no one ever talks about what work life is like over at King. Maybe they're just like they're like the princes, like they're treated
perfect
super
working
well.
conditions.
People have long tenured staff. Like who knows?
Yeah,
but,
no one ever harasses anyone over at King.
No drama. You never hear like King. You wouldn't believe. Like no one. It's absolutely invisible to the gaming zeitgeist for the most part. Nobody even ever talks about them.
Pretty excited about this. Is totally unrelated, but I'm excited about potentially anyway an announcement of a new WoW expansion at BlizzCon this year because. How do I say this?
Well,
I know enough about.
We know somebody went to work there.
Well, I know enough. I know enough about what's going on to know that this will very much be a Metzen expansion. Meaning he. It's not just he's here to advise.
So you're not saying something that isn't already out there? Because I saw a tweet about this.
I was gonna say Taliesin and Evitel have been tweeting up a storm about a Metzen,
and it's probably safe to assume.
Expansion.
I guess. Yeah. Okay. That's all I'll say about it then. But yeah, I'm excited because I don't even know what that means. Because what is
it's so good? We're all playing WoW next year.
Well, okay, so when he got hired, Scott, you don't get to comment on this because you probably know more than you can say. But Bo and I know nothing. You haven't told us anything.
No, I don't tell you guys anything.
We were even blindsided by the return of Metzen, which I think you could have told
I knew
us,
for 2 months. 2 months I knew about it. And I couldn't tell anybody.
Just to be clear, Scott didn't
StarCraft 3 yet.
I know.
Scott didn't tell us about it, but so, Bo, for you and me, when Metzen got hired, I think we were all kind of on the agreement that when they used the language, to help shape the future of the Warcraft franchise, both of us went, oh, they're making different Warcraft games. This isn't just about World of Warcraft expansions. And so if I was coming in and I was going to make new Warcraft games, be that World of Warcraft 2, Warcraft 4, or something else to push that narrative forward, I would also want a say on what World of Warcraft was doing narratively to make sure that there was cohesion between the two. So I think him having feedback on an expansion makes absolute sense, because if I'm doing whatever is coming next, I want to make sure that that all aligns and it's not going to be like a big disconnect as people go from playing World of Warcraft to whatever else might get added to this universe.
Right.
Well, and also since Metzen wrote the Ouroboros book, the rule book and the world book, that game he's working on is definitely a CRPG.
Oh, you think so?
No, I have no idea, but I'm hoping.
Definitely
a CRPG to go along with the RPG, just like Crimson Desert and Black Desert. It'll be Stormwind's Gate.
I can tell you this for sure. I know that he is so ensconced.
Enthralled?
Enthralled.
Did you almost say enthralled?
I almost did say enthralled.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Enjaned. He is so. I know that he is so ensconced in that process right now that normally something like BG3 would be his thing. He would be so focused on it. He'd be playing it. He'd be all jazzed. He loves D&D, loves the Baldur's Gate legacy, all this stuff. Talking to him the other day, and he said, I haven't had time to look at it. So what that tells me is, if he's willing to overlook BG3 during its heyday moment, he must be really up to his neck over there.
Well, it also tells me that if all this gets delayed, you all contact Scott because he talked Chris into playing Baldur's Gate. He caused the delay.
I did tell him, I said, this is really good, dude. You're going to love everything about it. He goes, I should check it out. So if there is a delay, it's entirely possible that Larian should be blamed directly and not me.
If Chris starts tweeting about Baldur's Gate, and then there's a big delay on Warcraft projects, send your emails to Scott Johnson. He's the one.
Yep.
He's the one who got in his ear.
We won't know. We still have the when it's done reputation. We won't know.
That's true. They still have that, I think, as a thing.
We won't know.
But yeah,
Scott will know. Scott,
and I won't be able to tell anyone until 2 months after it happens.
But
anyway,
so what you're saying is there's interesting stuff cooking.
There's I'm very, but my bottom line is I'm more excited about what that is than I've been in a long time. And I actually think this last expansion was excellent. For as long as I played it, I didn't really get into the end game of it, but I really liked and they're always strong with questing and stuff, but I think the dragon stuff was awesome. I just think that the return of the guy who had all the inspiration for all the stuff that we loved about WoW coming back in with, a bunch of time away from it, which means a really clear head and a very strong focus. And that's his job, is to go back and do this one needle pointy thing, that we're going to get something special. I hope that's true. And I really want to see what happens.
I hope so.
Man,
This last expansion, this is not me trying to knock its quality, but it's where my interest was. This is the first World of Warcraft expansion that I did not play through the questing experience for.
Yeah.
I skipped all of Dragonflight. I gave up on the first quest.
I got really far, and I got far into post questing, but I fell off right before any of the new content patches and stuff. And it's in great shape. The people that are playing it are loving it, whatever. But I don't know. This could just be enough juice for everyone to freak out and get excited again. I don't know. I think that's why they hired him back. Moving on. Let's move on. Oh, correspondence.
That's a good question.
We got a voicemail today. I'm going to play this voicemail. This voicemail is all about the 10 Hams phone. It's about Bo. It's about me. And there's some Big John question at the end about frog wrestling. Yeah. So we're going to just let this guy have his way with us here. Here you go.
Hey, Scott, Bo, and John. This is Kirk, a.k.a. Centrifuge. Ultimately, I have a question for John, but first, a little housekeeping for Scott, if I may. Scott, the 10 Hams phone line. Let me help you with it. It's 47 10 hams. It's kind of a shame that everyone got lashed on 10 hams because you could say 801 for 710 hams, but you got to remember the 7 in there. It's not 410 hams. It's 4710 hams.
10 or 10 TN?
Bo's username. It's not Gaforath. It's Gore4th. The 4 takes the place of the A. He's Gore4th. I've also heard you say like chibi or chibli at times. The word you're thinking of is chibi. Chibi. Okay, enough of that. My question for John. Would it be possible for you to make a video outlining all the processes that you go through for creating a character in frog wrestling? Like starting all the way at the beginning with how you collect info from the person that you're creating onto final, done, ready to debut character. All right. Thanks, guys. Love the bow, though. Bye.
Okay. Lot to answer for there. Yeah, the number's effed, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it.
It's the 10 hams line.
Yeah, the 10 hams line. Plus, Bo,
I'm not clear if it's 10 TN.
It's T. So you make up some of the letters on the end. That we knew, but it's so now it's 801 47 10 hams. And it's like the M and the S at the very end of that, I think, are just superfluous. You don't need them, but you can put them in, but it won't matter. So it does work that way.
Wait, the M and the S don't count?
Well, they don't really. So it's like this.
If they don't count, why can't it be 4710 ham? Why are we adding an S that doesn't even need to be on there?
Let's find out. 801 47, then we go 10, and then we go H A M. Oh, it's just the S. You're right. Why does it multiple hams? Well, because 10 ham doesn't make any sense. 10 hams is 10 hams.
Guess what, Scott? 710 hams doesn't make any sense either. Why can't it be 801 for 710 hams?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Whatever. It lives on in infamy. Bo's name, Gaforath or whatever. No, it's Gorath. It's just
Gather
Gorath.
your party and go forth.
But it's just Gorath. It was never meant to be anything else, right, Bo? It's just
no.
Gorath.
It's because on Twitch someone's squatting the name Gorath, and I'm not. I requested it, and they won't give it to me.
Well,
somehow, even though I'm in the top 1% of streamers, I'm still not famous enough to get any of their attention.
I know we all are.
Hey, that's fine. I had to spend a month as Caftless Rogue, so they're they got no sympathy. No
Caftless. Oh, you just misspelled it when you made it. Is that what happened?
Yeah. I did it at 2 a.m, and I changed my name to Caftless Rogue.
I mean, my damn name is on a Blizzard statue. Twitch.
Yeah. No, they should.
My gaming.
You've earned it. Yeah. No,
there it is. He's swinging around the statue.
Yeah, I should write
He's got the statue badge.
Yeah, my name's on the statue. Like, can you fix my name now? Finally,
as Gorath, no less.
Yeah, as Gorath. You know what we need?
I go back to Gorath. I don't need to be.
We need them to. Can anyone get a? Who's been at Blizzard lately? That's like on a tour. I want to just see Bo's name. I want to see the little card.
I don't think there's a photo or anything as yet.
I don't know if they've put it up. I know the statue's there, but I don't know if they've put all the nameplates up yet.
We could make Randy do it or something. We'll figure it out.
Randy, get out there and take a picture of the statue, Randy.
Yeah, dude, get your phone, get your ass outside, take a picture. Although I don't know if he's one of the.
I don't think it's up. I don't think they've even engraved the names yet. That's
okay. There's probably regret over there because it's a lot of work. We gotta.
They made a ton of money.
Got regrets.
I mean, I can say this with some authority. When I run a contest on on a show or something, I'm like, I'm giving away 50 sticker packs. Like I just got in these little Bomberman stickers I made, and I think I put one on John's tube. Anyway,
I had a naked Bo on.
Oh, that's what it was. Bo's.
I don't know.
Run.
Yeah, and I felt bad because I was so nervous about wrecking the poster.
Yeah,
because again, little kid running around, but also. Tape on the end of posters scares the crap out of me because all it takes is for that tape to catch as it comes out.
Sure.
So I was like, I got to tear this tape off. And as a result, I ripped Bo's entire lower torso off.
Oh, man. That's the worst end of it. That's the bad end of Bo's torso. You don't want the back end. You don't want the bum. That's where
he's sorry, Bo, but I'm worried. I don't want the poster to get red.
Well, anyway, my point is when I do these
That's
contests,
okay.
I'm like, hey, 50 of you are getting sticker packs. And then I afterwards realized that's such a pain in my ass. I got to get all these names.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
look, it's even don't put other people's name on there, but put mine. I probably out of all the people whose names on there, I'm like in the top 10 of people who sold copies of Diablo. Like,
Yeah, you deserve.
He
to
gave
get
you
that
a
on
10 out of 10 before the game was out.
Yep.
I gave you a 10 out of 10. I did better than all the most of the top streamers that make way more money than me. I sold tons of copies here and told everyone to play it. And you're gonna stiff me on my name from the contest you made? No.
He
that's
could
not-
have made you Vampire Survivors in a week.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Weekend.
greedy bastards.
weekend even. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I got.
Oh yeah, give the statue of the Vampire Survivors a guy. He'll
Oh,
grab it.
let me answer the question.
Oh,
That
yeah,
whole thing
Joe-
was to answer a
yeah,
question. I
answer
didn't
the
answer.
damn
I
question.
feel bad. I don't know if it was the same guy, but I did see someone suggest this to me, and it was one of those things I saw. It was like, that's a brilliant idea. I need to respond, and then forgot to respond. I think this is a fantastic idea. I got to pick the right person to use as the subject for it. The biggest issue that I've run in with making people in Frog Wrestling is I have hit most of the people that I feel super comfortable talking to. And so now it's starting to get into territory of people I know of or have maybe interacted with a couple of times. There's a few that I want to get in there that that's not 100% true. Actually, I got a really good one. I might have a subject. I might have come up with it. I might have to ask Dan, the tabletop man, if he's okay with being the subject of this.
He would
I think
probably
he would
be very happy
a
to
good
do it.
one. I know him well enough, and I think he would be a fantastic choice for this.
Yeah,
So
you can do some
that-
hockey motif stuff on him. He would love it. He'd be all in.
because like everybody wants Justin Robert Young. He's easily the most requested. I just don't know Justin super well, so
I can
while
ask
I'm
him.
sure he will be all for it.
He
You
loves
never
wrestling.
heard
He loves
Unfriend-
wrestling.
Go listen to old episodes of Unfriend Me.
I'll reach out to Justin if you want. Just say, hey, dude.
I mean, he's on the Discord. I can reach out to him, but also because he's so requested, I need to pick the right moment for him. You don't just throw Justin in on a random week with how often he gets requested.
Right.
Yeah, but I
Like
think if you-
he needs to be a surprise entrant in a Royal Rumble or something
yeah,
like that.
I
I
agree.
think if you're doing jury, you also have to do Schwood.
Yes,
think
those are the two most requested. The most requested wrestlers I get is Jury, Schwood, and for some reason, Fast Grandma. Those are the three most requested that I get.
Fast Grandma.
Like
Okay.
the amount of times I get told to put Fast Grandma in the wrestling game.
Maybe don't. Maybe you'll end up. Maybe Fast Grandma will end up as some sort of weird Pornhub thing. Maybe
I don't know. It's the weirdest one that I get asked, but it comes up a lot. It was in chat today.
Wow.
It was, so I don't know if the person who said it is still in here, but it was requested today during the show. Someone said, "When are
Jeez,
you
really
putting
get-
Fast Grandma in there?"
Yeah.
So those are the top 3 requests, and usually if it's somebody that gets requested a lot, I'm probably holding on to it for a big reveal. And there's a couple others I've already asked that I haven't put in the game yet, and there's a couple that I know well enough to ask without having to go to other people and say, "Can you talk to them for me?" Because I don't know them super well. So
Yeah. Well, if you do the jury thing and we need a bridge there, I can definitely do that. And he's a total wrestler fan. He loves it.
yeah, I think he'd be.
He likes real wrestling. He
Yeah,
goes
we
to,
got to save that for a big.
he goes to
big reveal.
California just to go watch Hood Slam and stuff. Like
Yeah.
he'll travel just for that weird like backyard. That's not backyard wrestling, but it's it's more down to earth. What's the word I'm looking for?
Or down to earth.
What do you call it?
Down to earth wrestling.
What do you call it?
Look,
What's
we
the
don't
word?
have time for your fancy lights and music. This is
What's the-
down to earth wrestling.
What's the
We
word
use a
I'm looking
big
for?
pit.
Amateur level, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't mean you're amateurs. I mean you're not in the WWE is what I mean.
You're not a pro leagues.
Yeah.
No, I think amateurs.
Joey Image is the most requested by Joey Image. I see that in the chat.
Oh, the
So let
chat
me
now?
just be clear.
Yeah.
Joey Image is one of the most requested wrestlers
Yeah.
solely from Joey Image.
Yeah, and Joey Image
I'm
for
sure he will be in there, but there's also something I want to include him. I do. I have a lot of people in mind and I'm getting through them. And I think Joey would be great. I've met him. He's an awesome guy. There's also something incredibly unfun about an actual wrestler in this league of wrestling.
Well, that's
It's a
like
little
you
weird.
have your local hockey league and Wayne Gretzky joins and you're like, okay.
Yeah. So I haven't exactly decided what it would be like for Joey Image to be in it, because he would come in and he would already have a persona and we could put him in exactly as he wants to be, and he'd have probably a lot of great ideas. But there is a part of me that's like, well, what does a actual wrestler in fake, like extra, these people are not in this kind of shape wrestling look like? So
Right.
we'll figure it out.
Well, he's super into PC stuff, so I follow him on Twitter. He's really into like building computers and stuff. So maybe that's your.
Maybe we just do a
Maybe
completely
that's
different
your
persona for Joey. That would be good.
And by the way,
Yeah,
Joey
dress
Image
him up
is-
like an IT guy. Give him like thick Weezer glasses or something, like geek core. Like just dress him up in total geek core, and he comes. I don't know if there's circuit boards and computer chassis that he could drive out on or something. But
Well, Joey will absolutely buy the. He's one of those guys that'll buy that PlayStation Portal on day one, and he'll buy all of these. He has the ROG thing. He has a Steam Deck. He has the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. I think he even has a Series S along with the
He's
Series
a
X.
tech guy.
He loves it. He has more hard drives than any wrestler in the history of the planet.
We
And I don't.
should make him a cyborg.
Yeah, see, now we're talking.
He'd be our first cyborg wrestler.
Our first real wrestler and a cyborg wrestler
And a cyborg and a caveman.
and a caveman. Oh, I love that one.
Why haven't we added and a caveman, to the
caveman.
roster yet? Just a random caveman that might come out at times.
Every meme, we're here for it. Every single one of them. All right. Where are we now? That's it. That's your email or voicemail. You can send those voicemails to 801-471-0462. That's 801-471-0462. You can send us emails at talktothecore@gmail.com. That phone number also works. The 10 Hams number works great for texts. So keep those coming as well. Before we get out of here, big thanks to a whole bunch of rad people who joined us this week on Patreon. I don't know what happened.
you guys are freaking awesome, man.
I don't
Thank
know.
you so much.
Look at these names. This is insane. Devin Butler, JB Barry, Matt Cordero, Dead Moon, Matthew Molesworth. How much is a mole worth? Taban.
One mole in the.
I don't know. I need
chair,
to get
two
one
in the bush.
removed. I
Oh.
can tell you what they charge for it when it happens.
It's not cheap, is my memory of it. Balooey, Burger Bears, Doug Weeder, Will, Brandon, Lucas McCoy, Chris Schultz, and Alex Gherkin. That's a big list of new people in 1 week.
Yeah, gosh dang, you guys.
I'm
It's
so-
so awesome.
makes me
I love
so
it
happy.
much. Thank you, thank you,
You're
thank
in
you.
very large part responsible for Bo being able to quit his full-time gig and focus on core and other gamer stuff. And
I think some of them, I know what they want to hear. Maybe a little nervous. They really want D&D.
yeah, more D&D, baby.
And so I'm like, I do too, but
D&D can be tricky because you got to get a bunch of people in there for D&D.
well, we got to coordinate it out. So I'm trying, but we'll talk once we hit October, right? October's still a little bit away.
It's a ways off, sure.
Yeah,
We'll
but
talk then. But these guys are great, and here's the other thing: you're going to get a bunch of benefits for being members. These new people and anyone who joins after I tell you today, things like no commercials ever, so an ad-free experience, and that's also true now on Spotify. You just have to log in with your credentials over there, and you're good. Pre-show content every week, monthly shows. John just posted one today, in fact, where he says there's a way to fix Blizzard. I'm not going to tell you what
release
he
more
said.
games. Oh, wait,
Make more games.
Spoilers. That's in there.
That's in there. It's part of it. But it's a real good listen. I think you guys should check it out, especially if you're Blizzard fans. And the way you do that is belly up and become a patron today. You get all the old ones we've done already, plus anything that comes out in the future. Art in the mail, much, much more. So go check it out. That's, again, patreon.com/core show. And everything else is over at the Frogpants site, frogpants.com/core. It's time to throw it to Grandma, who will tell us, Fast Grandma, excuse me, who will tell us what the hell we played this week. Grandma, take it away.
If you can believe it, they didn't actually just play Baldur's Gate 3 this week, but that was there. So if you're wondering, that was most of what they talked about. Again, I know. Anyway, Scott, he played Inkbound, which John undersold. He's always talking bad about stuff.
Yeah.
And he also played a game called Tome. Toem.
Yeah.
It's in black and white, like me. That's how you know you found the right game, is when it looks like that. John also played WWE 2K23. It's there every week, but for some reason it's really important to a few of you that I say that. So there you go. There's your bone. Chew it. And he also downloaded Armored Core 6. So apparently we're talking about games they didn't play. Congratulations. The show's going to be another 3 hours. Bo didn't play anything else, but he mentioned Quake 2, and so I remembered that, which means
wow.
I'm doing better than you.
Yeah, your cognitive abilities are really, I don't know, I expected you to be a little less sharp in your old black and white.
Kind of getting a bit slow, though, Grandma.
I paid attention.
Yeah, you did. Well, pay attention to us when I say there's lots to play, so go play that stuff. We'll be back next time with more right here on Core.
Get more at frogpants.com.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, it's him.